Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Heroic Division Finals this evening. We have Wildheart Omega and Kryix Tempest making it all the way here. Finally, NGS Season 11 Finals for Heroic Division. I'm so excited to watch these two teams duke it out tonight. And I have Jinxeekatt joining me to co-cast. How are you doing today, Jinxie?
I am fantastic. Thanks for asking. I'm really excited to be here because I love these teams and I'm excited to see what they can do today.
Absolutely, a lot of familiar faces, at least for me, on both of these teams. So it's hard to pick and choose who to cheer for, of course. But let's go ahead. We'll look for those readies, and in the meantime, we'll pop on over to the map selection screen, give everybody a rundown of where we're heading for game number 1 and how coin toss played out. That coin toss was won by the side of Kryix Tempest. They've opted to go with map pick tonight. And giving the first pick over to Wildheart Omega. Those map bans we're seeing, Dragonshire and Alterac Pass banned out by Wildheart Omega. Battlefield of Eternity and Garden of Terror taken away by Kryix Tempest. And we're kicking things off on Infernal Shrines. What's your thoughts on Infernal, Jinxie?
Infernal is a really interesting map just because, you know, the objective isn't the end-all, be-all of what's happening. You know, you want to make sure you're getting those camps. As a really strong offlaner can definitely make a difference. So I think that's where I'm going to be looking tonight, is to see what they pick up in that offlane and what they can do while those temples are going, what they can do without the Protector or Punisher.
Mm-hmm. Definitely one of those maps where getting the objective is not the be-all and end-all to winning these series. You can do a lot without securing objective. There's tons of siege camps on this map. There's lots of opportunities to just, you're falling behind on this objective. Instead of trying to hang around and continue to contest it when you know you have no chance of winning it, split off. Go find value elsewhere. Pick up a camp, push some structures, and look to win that way instead.
Absolutely. So we'll see if they prioritize this offlane really early here, if they're going to wait to see who picks their offlane first, who gets the better pick. I will say that we're probably going to see Lucio banned away first, but Hogger, Sonya definitely going to come out in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, absolutely not surprised to see Lucio banned out at all. I don't know if you've been catching some other top tier games going on, but he is a huge priority for bans these days. And on top of that, Kryix Tempest has an amazing Lucio player. Wolfie over on the side of Kryix has probably one of the best Lucios I've ever seen, and that's no jokes. He's really good on Lucio.
Absolutely. And, you know, on the side of Wildheart Omega, Valimar is actually really insane as well. We're going to see the Uther banned away there. Makes sense. So with that being said, either Hogger or Sonya will get through, and I'm wondering if maybe Brightwing, so both of them are going to get through here. Do you think they just pick one for one? What are your thoughts, Jazzy?
Yeah, there you go. Answered right there. I'm not going to be surprised if that's exactly what happens. Infernal Shrines, great map as well for both Sonya and Hogger. Maybe Diva, if they're sick of playing Sonya, they could throw that in instead. She's also a great offlaner here. But we'll have to see if they're going to bother. There we go. There's the Diva. And they're going to pair that with Mei.
These teams are just rocketing through this draft. They know exactly what they want. It looks like both of them are getting exactly what they want. However, I still wouldn't discount the Sonya. I know everybody is so sick and tired of seeing her. You gotta get it while you can. She's gonna be nerfed in that next upcoming patch. So maybe we'll see her come in as like a double offlane kind of rotation. 4-man Hogger isn't something that's unfamiliar to us. So maybe she'll come out, picking up that Cassia and that Stuka. Those are two really solid pickups.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if maybe they're going to go and look to try and run some kind of double bruiser comp here. So far, like, their main tank player is on tank and their offlaners picked up the offlaner. So it's not like there's somebody that's picked up an unusual role that's screaming to me that they're going to be taking a double bruiser comp. And there's the Diablo ban. That one a target ban onto Lupus for sure, as well as Diablo just being a decent tank.
Absolutely. Falsad getting banned out late in the game here, but no assassins picked up for Kryix yet. We should see one, if maybe not both of them, coming out right here, right now. They still have to lock in a support as well, and a lot of those top tier players are coming through, so we could see something that's kind of unusual, like an Anduin, or even a Lily. Ever since her rework, she's been kind of a niche pick into things like Cassia. Hogger, who also really relies on those auto attacks, but it's actually going to be Malfurion, who I completely forgot about with that super awesome combo of picking a level 1 talent to get a root into sleep.
Yeah, and that pairs really well with the Mei as well. You know, either Mei hitting a Blizzard or Malfurion hitting a Root allows the other to drop the alternate ability on top of it, and you just have a lot of CC and slows going on to kind of lock down players for kills. Additionally, we have the Sylvanas pickup as well, which gives you that extra bit of push and siege potential with your Punishers if you are able to secure one. Over on the side of Wildheart Omega, Joanna and Mephisto locked in here to round out the draft there.
Curious to see what we'll see from Will to Live. Maybe a mage coming out, though they're no stranger to running the double sustained damage and just taking these really long, drawn-out fights, which plays well into the draft they have so far. You know, Malfurion can sustain forever once he's got all of those regrowths on you, and it's going to be a gray main. So looking for a little bit of sustain, but a lot of... Here's our CC, here's the instant damage from the Cursed Bullet. So lots of different ways they can play this on the side of Kryix.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe Sylvanas is going to pick up Mind Control here and you just have Greymane dive in for your single target blow-up damage. I think that's a strategy that could work into this team. But of course, they have a lot of synergy going on over there too. You can get that ice wall with the Diva Mech explosion. If this is a comp they're familiar running and at the rank they're playing it at, I think they'll be able to time that out fairly decent there and make it work maybe once or twice in this game. I'd like to see. But yeah, I mean, is there a draft you're really favoring here?
Oh goodness, they're both
it's
so
hard to
good. Looking at this here. I gotta give it to Kryix just for the portrait synergy. No, but goodness. I think there's a lot of burst damage on the side of Kryix here. However, Wildheart Omega, they can also sustain for a really long time. So I guess it just comes down to who has the better engage, who has the better counter engage, since both these tanks excel so well.
Let's go ahead and get into introducing these teams. On the left-hand side, we have Wildheart Omega. Brown Bala will be playing Cassia, Lupus on Joanna, Frosty Wind on the Stukov, Valimar on Hogger, and Apparition will be on the Mephisto.
The battle begins
and over on the side of Kryix, Tempest, it is going to be Bridge to Death on that Mei. Rayvar will be your Greymane. Will to Live rocking that Sylvanas. Wolfie will be your Malfurion, and that is going to be... Oh gosh, I can't see their name right now. Moist on that Diva.
You love when they all stack at the beginning of the match. Like, we don't need to see that, right?
Absolutely. That's why I always rely on like the soothsayer with the you can put it in, so I can just read the names on the side.
We're going to see a rotation right down to the bottom lane from Kryix Tempest to kick things off. Sylvanas down there, but they're not going for the cheese. They're just looking to get the wave soak and priority there on that wave so they can maybe get onto these camps as soon as possible. Have Wildheart Omega a little bit on the run here. Joanna left in mid there. We're going to see Will to Live dropping a little bit of damage there. Sylvanas picking up the Might of the Banshee Queen at level 1, so going with a little bit of extra spell damage off her Q.
It makes me think that we will end up seeing that mind control come out just to get that little bit of extra damage, find somebody, blow them up really quick. And I like this. I like that they didn't go for the cheese. You know, sometimes it works, especially at lower levels of play when maybe the whole lane isn't prepared. But I think at this level of play, you know, we're talking Masters, Grandmasters, those kinds of players, if you leave your Sylvanas out there too long, then they can end up getting picked off there. So we are going to see Reaver and Wolfie jump on their Bridge to Death coming just to make sure nobody invades. Lupus did check it out, but camps cleared almost simultaneously. And now we're going to get that soak before heading down to that bottom camp fight.
Yeah, Reaver able to get a little bit of wave priority there, but taking a tiny bit of damage in return for it. We're going to see them head down towards that bottom camp now, I believe. Will to Live is starting that up right now on the Sylvanas. The remaining members also rotating down to help. Thing is, Wildheart Omega knows exactly what's going on, and it looks like they don't want to give this one for free. Lupus is walking in onto the camp here. We have Mephisto, Shade of Mephistoing in, getting some nice damage out. A silence drop by the Stukov. Greymane getting quite chunked. And now Joe and Brown Ball on the Cassia on that point trying to contest it here. Bridge is still alive. Will to Live and Tito are hanging around as well. Raver coming in on the flank trying to see if he can dive in to finish anyone off. And it's going to be Lupus here. First one to go down. Followed by Stukov and now Mephisto. Make that a 4-man team wipe here for Kryix in the bottom lane. And a camp secured for them here as well.
Geez, that was looking really rough for Kryix there just for a moment. I was kind of thinking to myself, like, the point control from Wildheart Omega is so strong. I thought for sure they were going to end up having a rough time there, but they played it safe. They waited for the Stukov silence to come out and then throw it right on top of the camp. So great patience by May. Great job from Will to Live not getting caught in that. And then Wolfie as well, just layering that CC. So it wasn't the end all be all, blow somebody up. And as such, they're going to get the first fort of the game.
Yeah, it looks like Kryix not afraid to take what advantages they can while they have those death timers up. With Sylvanas, this is the kind of play I love to see. You know, use that trait to the best max value you can get here. We're going to see this first shrine coming in now. It's going to be in the mid lane. Neither one of these teams picked up that bruiser camp that you typically see grabbed, but it does look like Greymane is going to start it up for Kryix, so they will have a little bit of pressure mounting in that top lane in a few seconds. This is going to give a little bit of a head start, though, for Wildheart Omega on this objective.
Are not going to find that infinite rotation here. Just going to get started. Valimar trying to get the team ahead any way that they can. That bruiser was picked up, so now Wildheart Omega will be on a timer to get something done. They've got a little bit of an early lead there, but 20 is typically when you want to start seeing an invade. The rest of the team rotating around. We actually have a Lupus clearing in the top, so I'm curious to see if Wildheart is going to commit to this or if they're just instead going to say, you know what, we'll give up the first one, it's not that powerful, clear it and go from there.
It does look like Wildheart doesn't want to give it necessarily over for free. They're going to push onto this objective. Moist getting quite low, dropping the mech explosion on D.Va. Bridge going in, trying to get somebody knocked into it. An Apparition is actually going to take a little bit of damage off of that mech explosion. Shade of Mephistoing in now, looking for some damage. Look at the clumping happening by Kryix. Down goes Greymane. Next, Sylvanas. Bridge to death, and Moist in a little bit of trouble here as they're getting left behind in the skirmish here. 3 members down on the side of Kryix Tempest, and the first Punisher will be going over to Wildheart Omega.
Oh my, both these teams are just playing so clean, so out of their mind, waiting for the teams to go in and blow those big engages, blow those big cooldowns before coming to finish it off. Anyway, this could go. I'm really excited. This is our game number 1, Jazzalene.
Yeah, fantastic map to pick things off on. It really, like, it's one of my favorite maps to play any kind of series on. Kick a series off especially just because we're talking, you don't have to win this objective to necessarily win the game. You can look for value elsewhere and try to find structures while they're doing other things with the Punisher, doing objectives. So we're going to see them lose their fort mid here and now going for the invade onto the siege camp on the side of Kryix Tempest. Let's see if they're able to sneak this in here before they're caught, and it looks like they're going to get away with it.
Oh, Johanna's asleep, but I don't know if they have the iron skin. They're going to pop it at the very last second. Great way to get out. Got to watch out for Apparition with that Mephisto. He's got the Spite at level 4, so they're able to get those basic abilities even faster anytime they're able to pick up a globe.
You know, I kind of started wondering when you're talking about, I don't know if they're going to come contest this or they're going to just let Kryix have it in the early game. You know, they have a pretty strong late game over on the side of Wildheart Omega. Mephisto really comes online in the late game. We have Cassia scaling with her level 1 ability as well. So I was kind of thinking, you know, that's a possibility that they could do that and just look to win these late game fights. But they're able to win in the early game as well here with that Punisher pickup.
Really hard now for Kryix. They're actually going to be down, finally picking up that level 10. As such, they have to give over this bottom camp. They need to win this rather soon. You know, once we start getting to those later levels, it's going to be so hard to come in and contest this. They have a lot of early game power. They will have some stronger late game talent, but for right now, I think Wildheart Omega is holding all the cards, and it's going to continue to go that way.
Level 10s are online for both teams here. Over on the side of Wildheart Omega, we're going to see Durance of Hate from Mephisto, Blessed Shield from the Joanna, Flailing Swipe out from the Stukov, Ball Lightning from Cassia, and Hogger picking up the Shockwave. What's going on for Kryix Tempest?
Over there, we've got the Ice Wall for May, Cursed Bullet for Greymane, Mind Control as we suspected, Tranquility, interestingly enough, from Malfurion, and then Micro Missiles from that D.Va.
Both these teams just kind of playing it safe right now, grabbing Soak where they can. They don't really want to take any fights for no reason. We do see those bruiser camp by the side of Wildheart Omega picked up just a second ago, so that's heading top to be cleared up. Next objective is going to be in the bottom lane. It's a little bit of an advantage there for Kryix because they still have their fort and fountain down, so they have a bit of structure to retreat to, a fountain to kind of reset and re-engage to contest objective going forward as well.
As you stated earlier, I'm really loving to see what they're doing with the Sylvanas. Actually, we're going to see the Shockwave come out from Hogger. Now, it's not a huge cooldown, just 70 seconds, so we'll be back before that next fight. We're going to see a little bit of a team fight break out here, but Bridge to Death able to escape easily enough. Apparition just going to go in for a little bit more poke damage, but we should see them all heal up, and then only a 25-second cooldown on a lot of these heroics. The best thing about Wildheart is they have relatively low cooldowns. I mean, you look at this, Cassius Ball Lightning, it's like a minute. Johanna Bless Shield, a minute. Durin's a Hate, it just depends on how many globes and whatnot we pick up. That can be up every 15 seconds if you want. Hogger's Shockwave is really the longest one, so Wildheart will be able to constantly contest with these heroics, and they could look for picks.
Kryix looking pretty good here. They have that mech explosion up right now. 13s though online for Wildheart. We do see the ice wall come out, connects onto Stukov. There's no blizzard on top of it though, so they really didn't get too much off that. You see Diva start to get chunked down. She's going to drop her mech explosion, kind of zone off some of the member, and Valimar is going to take a huge chunk of damage from that explosion. I feel like he might be in a bit of trouble. Drops the knockback, but the heal's coming online here, and it's going to be May that falls. Looking for that return kill, though. Raver in the back line gets the pick onto Hogger. Brown Balla getting chunked down, but the nice heal out from Stukov. Now, can they secure the kill onto Greymane? He went so deep for the counter kill. Will he be punished for it, or will he get away? It looks like he's going to manage to survive here.
Great using that working transition onto that skeletal defender. Gets out. I can go either way. May is down. Hogger is down. I see Brown Balla look for Sylvanas there. Mind Control connects onto Johanna. Allows Brown Balla to be chunked down by Ravar. Moist is back in the mech. This is actually going to end up being a Kryix Tempest Punisher here. And this is the frozen Punisher. This is the coveted Punisher that you want to get. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, that camp is pushing.
Yeah, I kind of would have liked to have seen Wildheart Omega just hold off a little bit on grabbing their Bruiser camp, so they at least could have had a Bruiser camp to match Kryx's in that top lane, because they ended up losing their fort. They lost the objective. They lost a team member, and with bottom fort already down, this one's going straight to keep with the Sylvanas to shut down structures. It just seems like quite a bit lost there for them, and nothing really of value gained at all.
Hard position to be in. It looked like the fight was going in their favor, but again, just the assassin players playing so crisply. Huge shout out, of course, to Frosty went on that Stukov. Saved the life of Hogger for so long with that level 4 biotic armor, but in the end, he goes down, and that's where it all went south.
Well, all in all, even though a couple forks down over on the side of Wildheart Omega, down a bit on structure, still pretty close on experience here. I would say dead even. We do see the invade there onto that siege camp. Kryix was able to steal away the mid-siege camp of Wildheart, and they're going to go ahead and start up their siege camp now as well. Bottom siege camp up and available. Looks like for now Wildheart Omega is just going to start to clear out their lanes, kind of push them out a bit, and continue to soak it out.
I think that's the safer play for them. The big thing about Infernal Shrines, the keeps and the forts are so far apart, and once you start to lose them, it's so hard to get back out on the map to find that XP. So the fact that they're staying, you know, even just a smidgen ahead right now is really great for Wildheart Omega, who will start to come back in this later game. They just got to be patient for right now. Understand that if we can find a big team fight later, there's always the joke, you know, win one team fight at level 16 and collect your free win.
Yeah, and like I said, they're going to kind of scale pretty decently into this late game with the Mephisto on their team and Cassia stacking on her Q quests here. So if there's a mind control coming out there on the Valimar, we're going to see the Cursed Bullet out from Greymane as well. He's going to turn around with a Shockwave. The Durance of Hate comes out from Mephisto, catching 3 members. Down goes May. Raver looking like he might be in a bit of trouble. Is going to roll on out of there. Lupus going in with the Condemn, though. Going to keep him from disengaging quite yet, and they're on the chase for him now. Raver has no hope. He's going to go down as well. A 2-0 in favor of Wildheart Omega.
Great job by Wildheart. We'll see what they can do with this. 2 key members are down for 30 seconds. Would live dealing with the top. Right now, the lanes are so pushed, it's hard to see what they can really get. So we're going to jump into this top lane for the next Punisher. Will be spawning to see what else they can't find. We have that level 16 now online for Wildheart. It's a big power spike. Mind Control will end up coming out here. Now, everybody's just pressing those R buttons, trying to find some favor. Just get a little bit aggressive. However, without a front line to engage. Kryix Tempest, no, they just need to back it on up.
They're gonna get that fountain down, so at least they've kind of equalized top lane for advantages in the objective. Nobody has a fountain to fall back to now. But still a structure for Kryix if they do manage to get that Punisher. If they do need to retreat to safety, it's there to help them out a little bit. But they're not just gonna be able to walk 10 feet away, hit a fountain, and re-engage as a 5-stack after getting them chunked down or anything.
Gonna be a hard-fought Punisher, that's for sure. I'm curious to see if maybe our offlaners will go and do something else. Both of them holding off on these camps, waiting for the other one. A little bit of a game of chicken to see who wants to get the better positioning on the Punisher, foregoing the positioning on their Bruiser camp.
We're gonna see Bridge cap the Bruiser camp of Kryix Tempest. Still waiting for Wildheart Omega to lock theirs in here. Wildheart... Oh, sorry, Kryix actually going to come down and set up in this bush here. Maybe look to grab bottom keep. That looks like that's the play they're going to make here with Greymane Sylvanas. Why not?
I love that. I think it's a really, really smart play. That'll mean constant catapult. So Wildheart will constantly be on a timer. They've got to push out those catapults because stacking katas end the game. This is going to be a mortar Punisher, so not necessarily the end-all be-all here. They still have a fort to fall back to if they end up losing this. Grabbing these camps down here. They're going to take the middle fort too. Oh my goodness.
I don't know that they're necessarily worried about getting these objectives. They can pretty much open up the map however they want if Wildheart's not going to come contest them anywhere. So they don't seem like they're in the biggest rush. They might actually just take all of the camps here, kind of force Wildheart to have to back and leave the objective as well. And then they have a pretty decent defense. I'm just interested at this point, you know, are they going to find the value that they need to find with Wildheart free pushing top, opening that up, and now going to get a Punisher as well?
It's going to be a tough one here. The big thing, I think, was the fact that they have to go through this fort first, so it didn't necessarily matter. But maybe dawdling a little bit too much in the bottom lanes are going to give over that free Punisher. Like you said, there's still a Bruiser camp constantly pushing that top lane. Middle will have to be dealt with, but... It's a free clear, basically.
Yeah, you know what? I don't hate it. It's going to end up turning into a free clear for everyone. Wildheart's backed off to go clear up the camps and stuff here. Thought we're going to see a little bit more stall there on that Punisher to give Wildheart more of an opportunity to clear their lanes before the Mortar Punisher was spawned up. We saw Valimar kind of sit on 39 minions for a second there, but there's still katas collapsing on bottom lane there for Wildheart to clear. And this Punisher is now at the wall here. Valimar by himself, the rest of his team rotating over, aside from Cassia. We're going to see the Blessed Shield come out. Huge Durance there, and they're going to get 2 picks, maybe 3. As Rayvar goes ahead and rolls on out of there on the Greymane. Sylvanas and Malfurion falling in this fight. These are the picks they need. I mean, you're sitting 19, 45-second death timers. If they can shred through this keep fast enough, they can maybe look to end, but they got to play it careful there. Frosty Wind getting chunked down. That tower's still up, hitting people as well for Wildheart.
Definitely not a free clear here. In fact, we're going to see May get very low. D.Va has to pop the mech to survive. They've managed to pull the Punisher over to this mid keep, but D.Va will end up falling here. All 3 keeps still alive, though, so they can't hit the core just yet. Finally, they'll be able to get on top. Rayvar is jumping in. The Shockwave going to follow him up and try to get protected by the keep. It's not going to be enough. And despite a really strategic play from Kryix Tempest, I think we're looking at the beginning of the end here, Jazzy.
This is looking like the core is going to go down here. 61%. Bridge to Death doing what he can to keep people off. He's going to fall. Will to Live back up, sending out the mind control onto Cassia. 33% and falling on this core. Let's see if they can finish it. It looks like it's going to be game number 1 over to the side of Wildheart Omega. And Heroes Hearth rating for the huge raid there. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, guys. We really, really appreciate it. What an awesome game number 1. This is going to be a fantastic series. I can feel it.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. These teams are, I mean, you're in Heroic Division. This is about as high-level play as you can get unless you qualify for Storm Div in NGS. So I'm expecting some pretty exciting matches tonight.
Absolutely. We're taking a look at the stats here. 11 kills going over to Wildheart Omega. And the entire time I was going, how can they get back into this? You know, these are the kind of plays that stress me and my team out down in Division B. But obviously, like you said, this is Heroic. They know exactly what they're doing. They came in didn't show on a single minion the whole way down, which I thought was a really, really smart play. Kryix, Tempest, they thought they were safe to clear outside the wall, and they ended up paying the price and losing the game for it.
Absolutely. You had Hogger kind of bait them out past their wall, and then Joanna and Mephisto coming in with a beautiful Blessed Shield, Endurance of Hate on the flank. It just worked out amazing. Cassia wasn't even there. They didn't even need the extra DPS there. Just Mephisto enough, and that CC was enough to delete a couple members and get what they needed out of that Punisher. Yeah, again, looking back just at the end of that game there, I can't help but feel maybe the better choice for Kryix was to just get that keep and kind of make their way to top a little bit faster so that their fort didn't go down. Then you have a little bit more structure for that last Punisher to push through, maybe a bit more likely to get a nice defense out there. Let's take a second, look at those talents, if there's anything you want to hit on here, because I think we have the next lobby up already.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll take a look. You can see pushing was definitely the name of the game for Will to Live, going with that possession. And then, of course, mind control later, looking to see if there's anything else. We're seeing the new Maybell that a lot of people are taking, Ice Storm, and then, of course, that Flurry at level 13. Just, unfortunately, couldn't seem to get it off without some kind of... The big one there is early Maylock. All of the supports were banned. Frosty Wind picking up that Stukov really, really made it hard for Bridge to Death to get going on what they were trying to do.
Yeah, didn't really see some of the Maywall combos I was hoping for in that series. It definitely not the wombos that I wanted to see from them, with the mech explosion potential, maybe even kind of... They got their mind control, Curse of Bullets going and stuff, but they weren't quite able to delete some of the targets they were going for. Wildheart, though, they were kind of on point with their wombos. You'd see the Blesseds go out, the Durance of Hates go out, the Ball Lightning's on top of it, Shockwave. You were just CC'd and taking so much damage every time they decided to combo their ultimates together. Let's go ahead, pop back on over to us for a second while we jump into this next game.
Looks...
There we go.
Alrighty, so our next game gonna be on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Looking at the drafts and everything, this was once again picked up by the members of Kryix Tempest. So what do you think, Jazz? Do you think we're gonna see a similar style of play, or are they gonna go for a little bit more lane soak when we look team fight? What are you thinking?
I mean, right now, the draft that Kryix took in game number 1, definitely something that they could opt to do here. Again, having that Sylvanas to shut down forts, walls, towers with the push from the spiders. A great pickup. Greymane to kind of combo with that to get some more siege damage to help push with Sylvanas is always great as well. And the rest of their draft, same thing. Works pretty decently here. Over on the side of Wildheart Omega... I'm interested to see if they're going to be able to get some of their popular pickups. So, you know, we have a very, very good Chromie player over there, a very good Diablo player. Those things were banned out last time. I'm interested to see if they're going to stick with those bans, or if some of the things they just saw in game number 1 they think are problematic and they need to switch it up going into game 2. Do have some readies coming out here. For those of you just joining us, let me pop on over to the map selection screen really quickly. We'll give you a rundown. If you just missed it, game number 1 was played on Infernal Shrines. That was a map picked by Kryix. Let me update that score really quickly for you guys as well. Was picked by Kryix, but the win went over to Wildheart Omega. For game number 2, Kryix has opted with map pick again. So seems like they are favoring, when they have the option, going with map pick this evening.
I think map pick is really underrated. Obviously, with first pick, you can get that first hero, you know, the one that everybody wants to get their hands on. Your Chromies, your Sonias, your Hoggers, your Sonias. But that's the problem right now, is just there's so many great picks. If you don't get one, not the end of the world. And then it also gives you last pick, so that's something to counter whatever their full strategy is. You get to see the full enemy team comp. If you want to fight against that solo lane, now you have your chance to get the winning matchup. Yes, that first pick is really strong, and there are some things that you definitely have to ban away, but I don't think map selection is much of a punishment anymore.
There's something to be said for teams that do go with map pick over first pick here, because to me it means that they kind of have some kind of strategies, stuff that they like to run, comps that they're familiar with running, and they think that having the map pick on their side is going to give them the upper advantage here. So we're going to see the same bans to kick things off as we saw in draft number 1, the Lucio ban and the Chromie ban.
Wouldn't be surprised if we see the same bans throughout the entire series because, you know, they've done their research. These are also really strong heroes. I would maybe like to see a little bit more emphasis on supports because while we did still get very strong supports, I feel like, especially if you're going for something like the Mei, you want to try and pick up, like, Stukov is the #1 counter, so maybe considering picking that up with her next time. Just focusing on what you want to do, what screws that up, and then instead of just banning it away, taking it for yourself.
By the way, I was just gonna say, Hasu's coming in with a raid here. Thank you so much. And a couple of you guys are asking about casters in chat, but if you want to check us out, you can find me at Jazzalene on Twitch. There, I put the command in Jinxeekatt. Both of us cast a ton of Heroes of the Storm, so if that's your jam, then definitely drop us a follow.
Absolutely. We would love to see y'all hanging out in our channels as well. As this time, we're going to see Falstad picked up by Brown Bala. First pick.
I'm
interested with the...
so it's interesting to get Falstad on Tomb of the Spider Queen. You don't really need the global here. But you're looking at frequent flyer for your stacks at level 1. If you're going to be doing a double rotation, there's lots of opportunities to get ganks as well. It might not be the worst here. And I do like, you know, getting Falstad really sets you up for a late game 20 fight. If you can get a big upgraded Gust, really just turns team fights around. Even if you were losing the rest of the time, they can't do anything when they're pinned against a wall.
You basically took the words right out of my mouth. You know, it's kind of funny. We've seen, you know, the W build really dominant in Storm League, that kind of stuff. Obviously, because of the bug with the Falstad W at level 1, always granting the slow no matter what, it has been banned out. And it's kind of a shame because in our next patch, we will see that Lightning Rod build being nerfed really, really hard, in fact, and nobody gets to use it NGS. That also being said, in the bug reports, the #1 bug that people have been complaining about, hey, this stinks and people are abusing it, wasn't affected, but, you know, there are some, like, ETC's casts are invisible while he's power sliding, which I don't think I've ever seen in any of my games.
Yeah, I can't say I have, but again, who actually plays ETC these days?
That's fair. the one dev is an ETC main, and he knows, so... No W build today on Falstad. Not sure if we'll ever see it in NGS, but really solid picks coming out all around here. However, actually not being picked up. Valimar going with the Chen, as Sonya was first picked for Moist this time, and now Rayvar taking the Cassie at this turn round.
Yeah, a little bit of swaps there in the draft. Cassia pickup now over on the side of Kryix. Also, saw that Sylvanas ban coming out from Wildheart Omega. So we saw Sylvanas played by Kryix in game #1. Didn't want to see it again here. And I can't say blame them. She can get a lot of value with the spiders. We're going to see the Malfurion and Mei pick up once again, though.
Hopefully this time, you know, they've kind of analyzed what went wrong into this combo, how they can do it better. Because early on, I think Wolfie was doing a great job of dropping the roots whenever Stukov dropped the silence. But as Frosty began to hold it more, it became kind of a game of chicken of who's going to drop this big CC first, because they have relatively the same cooldowns. So members of Wildheart running the if it's not broke, don't fix it, picking up basically the same comp from game #1.
Yeah, I'm interested to see this Chen pick up. We don't get to see too many Chens. So I want to see what Valimar does with this. I'm curious to see if maybe Malfurion's going to opt to go with Twilight Dream this time around instead of the other ultimate, just in case he has to deal with the Chen just sticking to him in the backline the entire time.
See Junkrat come through. It's really great into something like a Chen who will try to dive the backline, as you mentioned. But I'm kind of curious now, because we always have to bring this up. Typically, we see the Panda Pals come out for the Chen Heroic. With the Junkrat, do you think there's a chance we'll get the barrel tonight?
It's hard to tell. There's a chance that we could see barrel. If you're looking at like potentially Sonya Lee, Mei hard engaging, and depending on how the way Kryix is playing in the early game, they're going really dive heavy and they feel like they need that extra kind of peel, or they'll be able to take advantage of someone getting out of position. We could see a barrel roll to do that. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a barrel roll, but I mean, you could also just see the Panda Pals and see Valimar play Chen more of a style, diving that back line, just surviving for as long as he can. When he's about to die, jumping into his Panda Pals and trying to finish off anyone he's got low.
Absolutely. We'll have to see as we head on into game number 2 here.
Well, let's go ahead and introduce these teams. On the left-hand side, we have Wildheart Omega. Brown Bala will be playing Falstad, Lupus on Joanna, Frosty Wind on Stukov, Apparition on Mephisto, and Valimar on the Chen.
And over here on the right-hand side, we've got Rayvar on that Cassia. Bridge to Death will be your Mei. Wolfie on that Malfurion. Will to Live is rocking that Junkrat. And Moist will be your Sonya.
3, 2, 1. Let the battle begin.
Over to the mid where nobody is yet. There we go. Taking a look at these level 1 talents. We have gone with the frequent flyer for Falstad as suspected. And then this time, Thunderstroke picked out for Kryix.
I'm interested to see if they're maybe going to be able to get some nice picks on rotations here. Maybe Junkrat can get some traps down, knock someone out if they kind of have like Mei to assist them on picking people off on the rotations over on the side of Wildheart Omega. We're going to see Chen break off now, go towards that bottom lane. Sonya heading down there as well. It's Falstad making his way down here. That bottom siege camp comes up in 15 seconds. It's a little bit underrated, I would say. People kind of undervalue it a little bit on this map. So I'll be interested to see if there's going to be a priority on that as soon as it pops up, or if we're going to see them more focus on their bruiser camps in the early game.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see him pick it up. You know, one of the best ways to play is just kind of duel each other out for a little bit and then send somebody off to go do it because they're so focused on what's going on. You know, send your Johanna in, send your Mei in, really create havoc, and everyone is so focused you never think, oh, where'd Falstad go? Where'd Cassia go? And then the camp is pinged and you're like, ah, gosh darn, there they are. So we'll see if the teams are able to sniff it out, or if, like you said, they're going to say, you know, we'll pick this up a little bit later.
We do see Brown Bala making his way down here now to start that up. Cassia's coming down as well, though, for the side of Kryix. So wondering if he's going to be found on this camp. And that looks like it's exactly what's going to happen. So we might see some of the members collapsing. Malfurion's rotated down. Kind of has a little bit of a sixth sense for what might be happening, knowing that Cassia will need a little bit of help here. This is going to make it a 3v2 if everyone did collapse from this bottom lane. So Kryix looking like he's pretty good right now to grab this Siege Giant camp. Did have Valimar try to sneak in, but the Root Sleep coming out there to stop him from contesting that one. And the camp will go over to the side of Kryix Tempest.
A little bit of underestimating how quickly the two were able to do that. We're going to see another big Sleep Root combo come out. There is going to be that Blizzard follow-up, and Chen is going to be our first blood. It's everybody dives to fight down here in the bottom lane. Brown Bala going to get kind of low there, has to back away. But Frosty Wind is here, going to be able to heal them all up, and this camp shouldn't be long for the lane.
And there we go. Siege Giants will go down there. Little slight XP lead here for the side of Kryix Tempest. But nothing that Wildheart Omega can't make up for here. We're going to see the rotations continue. Well, this whole time, Wildheart Omega has been a little bit behind on some of these rotations. You can see that with a bit of structure damage that they're having on their front wall on mid.
But in one...
Oh, go
right ahead.
No, you.
After you, Will to Live, we definitely love to play that Junkrat. Nothing that we typically see as much as we used to, only kind of coming out in niche circumstances. Unless you are Will to Live, and I was just going to say, I think one of the reasons they're able to maintain so well is he has superb wave clear, and then using that bomb, getting from place to place, they're able to move through the lanes a lot quicker, which is something Wildheart Omega is going to have to be aware of if they want to split off for these fights.
All right, somebody was saying I was a bit quiet in chat. They've turned it up. My neighbors were like blasting music super loud before I started casting today, and I didn't want their bass getting picked up, so I tried to adjust. But let me know if it sounds all good now, guys. You have that bruiser camp from the side of Wildheart Omega pushing forward now. The Blizzard's going to be dropped by a bridge to help clear that up with the rest of his teammates here. Turn-ins up and available for both of these teams. So now it's just a game of who can sneak it in. That sounds so wrong. Oh, no.
Both of them are keeping a good eye on these. The Junkrat mines are going to provide lots of vision and lots of interrupts there. However, the poke from Wildheart is really fantastic. We're going to see a big silence come out. Several members trapped in there. Raver actually has to end up running towards the enemy team. They're surrounded by enemies on all sides. Finally, though, that Blitz are going to come out. Valimar sticking to him like glue. 200 health left. Thank goodness, though, for Wolfie. Not good enough, though, as Valimar will get that return kill on Cassia.
You see Lupus sneaking in his gems there. Apparition starting to get his turn in as well. That'll give them their first Web Weaver phase. There's the interrupt from Bridge to death, though, dropping the Blizzard. Apparition going right away to start up, and Bridge sneaking in one more time for a snowball to get that interrupt. Do have all the members of Kryix Tempest back up for this defense, though. So at least stalled it out long enough to make sure those death timers finished there, and everybody was up for this defense. Lupus heading top, clearing out that lane with Apparition. Brown Ball around as well. It's looking like they might... Oh, maybe not. Thought maybe they're going to push top, but... Seems like they're going to opt for mid with this Bruiser Camp now.
Bruiser Camp, something you want to get rid of quickly because it will kind of get, you know, devalue that Web Weaver. So it makes sense to clear it all out. They're going to do so beautifully because as a team, Wildheart Omega just has superb wave clear. So they're going to take that out. Web Weaver is sitting at about 50% health now. Falstad did end up going to the top lane, so may look to continue pushing in with that. But right now, mid is where it's at. So we head up here, but all Web Weavers looking fairly low, and they get about what's to be expected from the first Web Weaver phase. Same with the Punisher on Infernal Shrines. The first spiders aren't necessarily the greatest. They give you a little bit. You can get those walls down, but unless you find a couple of kills, it's hard to get much more than that.
Yeah, front walls down on most of these structures here, so not too bad. We do still have turn-in up and available now for the side of Kryix Tempest, a little ways away from hitting their second turn-in on the side of Wildheart Omega. Just going to kind of see these teams continue to try and soak it out and now defend these turn-ins as well.
Already playing so slow and carefully. I think the biggest thing on Tomb of the Spider Queen isn't, you know, how can we get the most turn-ins, but more so, how can we deny the team from getting their own turn-ins? Level 10s are online for Kryix Tempest here. Riptire, Ice Wall, Ball Lightning, Twilight Dream this time around for Malfurion, and it is going to be the leap. Do we have any counters for that, Jazzy?
Oh, over on the side of Wildheart Omega, we have Gus picked up for Falstad, Blessed Shield out from the Joanna, and we have a little bit of an engage there. There's what we were talking about, the Chen taking barrel roll here, knocking Raver out of position. Moist is going to go ahead with the leap, and Drunkrat dropping the Riptire there. They get the pick on Chen. Let's see, though, if they can find some counter kills from Wildheart Omega, because here's their patented Blessed Shield Durance combo there. Gonna get 2 counter kills. Malfurion goes down. Sonya falling as well. Bridge to death taking quite a bit of damage here on the disengage, and they've successfully defended this turn-in for now.
Oh my goodness! I thought for sure the way it was going, we saw the panda, that I was super hyped for that barrel, but the patience from Sonya waiting for that leap, they get the kill. However, Kryix, how could you not see this coming? They did it all to you game number 1. They did you dirty and you lost the game because of it. Now they're doing it in game number 2. Wildheart Omega, they're absolutely insane.
I mean, this is a combo that I would probably be looking to ban out now going into the next series. They ran it in game 1. They're now running it again in game 2, and they have it down. They have it on lock. Every time you see the Blessed Shield go out, they have the Durance to follow it up, and everybody is just getting melted and burning down. And they've done this too into 5v4s now twice. They lost their Chen at the beginning of that fight. They did it on Infernal Shrines. They went for a flank, took a 5v4 in favor of Kryix's, but that combo was enough for them to win the team fight anyway.
Something they're definitely going to have to keep a lookout for. I know I just said that, but really, we are going to see the red Web Weavers come through. So maybe with their seat damage, they can hope that we can get a little bit more out of this. They don't have to team fight as much when they're pushing out these lanes, making it hard for people to step up and find those fights. But yeah, Jazzy, if they don't ban at game number 3, then that's just going to be borderline disrespect.
You see the mid-web weaver here spawning in furthest in the lane. That's where the members of Kryix Tempest want to push in as well, but it's getting shredded down pretty quickly by Wildheart Omega. There's the ice wall going out. It's going to connect onto the Joanna here. Riptire comes out as well, but the Iron Skin is going to allow Joanna to just kind of walk away here. Frosty Wind and Valimar taking a little bit of damage from that Riptire, but nothing that isn't going to be healed up in just a moment. Falstad's been clearing out those other lanes. Oh, there goes the Durance. Doesn't quite connect that time. Moist able to leap on out of there. But barrel roll coming out from Chen now, knocking the Malfurion into the back line. He's going to go down here, and Rayvar now a little bit out of position. Let's see if he can manage to make his way out of here as well, or if he's going to be the next one to fall.
Great use of that Blizzard, getting everybody out. May, one of the best zone control tanks in the game right now. Maybe second to Johanna, of course. So great play by them to get that out. Really, really spectacular job from Valimar, getting the interrupt on that Twilight Dream, and that Malfurion goes down. And now with no support, he is rezzing now. We could see Wildheart get their turn in and look to push with that.
Looks like they're going to go ahead and grab their bruiser camp here while they're waiting for that turn-in point to come in. Joanna, though, getting collapsed on top lane by Kryix. Already popped that Iron Skin. The Blizzard goes down. She gets knocked out of the Blizzard, but it doesn't matter. She ends up falling anyway. Valimar rotating up to try to help out. Now going to pop that barrel roll to escape on out of here.
That's a big heroics burn. We're going to see Gus from Bound Bala come from the bottom, but it looks like no more than that. Actually, Sonya will end up going down, stepped up a little bit too far, and got bitten there. Mythoso able to kick it off. Looks like Durance of Hate was used in that fight. Valimar was able to get those gems. However, they've fallen asleep in those roots. Remember, the Kryix running for their lives right now. Blue Weavers are descending. Sonya not down. Big root coming out from that virulent reaction. However, Bridge to death on that May, a little bit too fast.
Almost just saw, like, I wonder if Brown Bala in there walking into, like, the spell armor from the camp was saying, like, no, guys, like, it's a 1-for-1 right now. We have spell armor. We can keep fighting, and convince the rest of the team to go in there. We do have Valimar diving and looking for Rayvar. Pops the barrel roll on Chen. Let's see if he can knock him out of position. It looks like Rayvar's going to be able to survive through that. Valimar taking a little bit of damage and now stopping to give shields to his entire team. Heal up a little bit. Bridge going on in there with the icing, knocking Frosty out of his silence, and the Blizzard goes out as well. Blizzard was already used there, but there's the Ice Wall, so he's not going to have that CC coming out of Ice Wall there, but at least kind of pushing them off of this siege for the spiders here.
Relatively low cooldown, so you can use it just for a little bit of disengage. Don't always have to set up those big combos. This will buy time for the members of Kryix Tempest to try and get through these web weavers, but bottom lane already lost top not long for this world ever. In fact, those sister web weavers are going to end up finishing those off. Down in the bottom, still looking really rough as we push onto this keep wall. Moist going to try and defend as best they can. Bridge Death is making her way down. Kind of revealed their position there, so Valimar and Brown Bala are just going to be able to get out.
Lots of gems here over on the side of Kryix. They're almost sitting on 2 full turn-ins here.
This is kind of what I was talking about with those. How well can you turn in? Because both teams have had, 2 turn-ins now. Are going to see a little bit of damage come out onto Valimar. There's going to be lots of leap to lock him down. Blessed Shield will come out. There's the Durance, though. Chen with that stagger. Cassia gonna go down. There is no heal for Valimar, though, who ends up falling as well. 20 gems online. They have to pick him up. Valset will go down as the team was kind of split there. Do we go for the gems? Do we help out? Do we go for the gems? All right, we got to go for that gems. And thus, Brown Bala falls. So now, Kryix should be able to get those turn in.
We're going to see Sonya doing the bruiser camp while they're doing that turn-in as well, so they'll have a little bit of extra pressure with these web weavers. I feel like finally Kryix has their combo down. We've seen Ice Wall go out multiple times in both of these games, but nothing really followed up on top of it. That time, they were on point with it. Ice Wall went out, Blizzard went out on top of that, and a root from Malfurion. So Falstad had no hope there after everything dropped off.
See what they can do. Falstad will be up in 3 seconds. Has that fly, and on such a small map, they can pretty much be anywhere, anytime they're needed, not having to fly in. Because that fly does have a range. It's not 100% global. Middle fort will end up going down. This is a huge push here from Kryix. However, with everybody up, but Wildheart will come down. There's going to be that Blizzard, but great disengage from Brown Bala.
That was a beautiful gust there out from the Falstad to ensure they couldn't do anything off that Ice Wall and Blizzard stun there. There's the wave dropped out by the spider, doing a little bit more siege damage. They still have a bit of help from this bruiser camp, getting a bit of spell armor for now. We're going to see that minion die, and the web weaver is going to fall shortly behind that. Chen has been clearing out top lane. It looks like the members of Kryix are going to eye bottom keep now. So that spider still has a bit of health left on here. Not too much, though, but a huge wave for Wildheart to catch soak here with.
We continue to push in here. Everybody is ready on the side of Wildheart, and it looks like with that web weaver not having much health left, they're going to back off, see if they can't get something else on the map. Bottom camp is available. Bruiser camp is available. It's where we should see Wildheart go. And of course, with everybody up, it would be foolish to try and look for that boss. Looks like the double turn-in is going to be the play.
And no chance of interrupt here either. They're right on that turn-in, and Wildheart not really in position to get there in time to interrupt. They're grabbing their bruiser camp here. They're going to be able to walk away before the invade happens. Brown Balla clearing out a little bit on bottom. But a lot of these web weavers spawning pretty far in over on the side of Wildheart. Lupus popping the iron skin there to avoid getting stunned in the blizzard, is going to walk away here. Chen's already setting up for the clear top. And let's see what Kryix is going to do with this turn-in, if they're going to find any value off of it.
Once they see Chen, they'll know they have a 5v4 and can look to maybe find something off of that. Members of Wildheart are stepping up down in the bottom. It looks like mid is what it's all about there. Lupus is in position. We'll see if anybody rotates down.
All ultimates up here for both these teams, so it's kind of just let's see who can throw out the ultimate, get the disengage, get everything kind of baited out. There's the ice wall now. Riptire comes out from Junkrat. Blizzard is on top of that, but they have the iron skin back up, and the gust comes out as well, so that Riptire doesn't even do any damage there to the members of Wildheart. They're able to clear out the bottom spider. Mid spider's down, top spider's collapsing. Looks like they want to go in for a bit of an engage, but they just got chunked. Turning around now, looking for the disengage. Let's see if Frosty can get them healed back up enough to defend these keeps. Top keep taking quite a bit of damage here, almost falling to the spider. Minions are going to get cleared up. Kryix still looking to position themselves in mid to secure a keep here. They need to be careful about not overstaying their welcome, though.
I really like what Kryix has been doing. We've seen a couple of times now that Blessed Shield, Lurking Arm, Durance come out, and they haven't been able to find who they're looking for. Maybe one or two people will be healed, hit by the Blessed Shield, but immediately everybody else is moving out of that way, so the Durance doesn't connect, and this is the adaptation we want to see here in Heroic Division. I think 2 or 3 times now they've avoided the combo, so they can continue like this. And this is looking really strongly in favor of Kryix Tempest.
Yeah, maybe I jinxed them because I was saying Wildheart Omega has just been on point with that combo, and then they haven't hit it since. Do have a boss up on the map here. Turn-in up and available for Wildheart Omega. So I'm imagining Kryix doesn't want to stray too far from that boss, because if they show somewhere else on the map, you can bet the other team is going to make a play for it, or at least position themselves to bait it.
Going in the middle lane now, I think Wildheart can breathe a sigh of relief. We're going to see once again Web Weavers very close to being done. Just a couple more needed. The hard thing about being so ahead on Tomb of the Spider Queen is when you push the enemy team in, you make it very hard to get gems for yourself. So we'll see them play this very casually. They're fine to wait and see if they can't try and, get a couple of kills, find the gems, and the turn-in that way. So level 20 does come online for both of these teams almost simultaneously.
Neither one of these teams wants to let the other sneak in a turn-in or a boss play here, so they're both just kind of keeping an eye on where they are on these rotations. Bruiser camps up over on the side of Kryix Tempest. There's the Blessed Shield out onto Sonya. She's going to get the Durance on top of her as well. Riptire comes out from the Junkrat, and it gets deleted there. Icewall does go out, connects onto Mephisto. Falstad in a really awkward positioning there is going to get deleted, goes down here. Malfurion popping the Twilight Dream to get a nice silence onto Stukov, which means no heals for the team, and Stukov goes down as well. 2 for nothing. Now a 2 for 1. Moist is going to fall. Apparition going down as well. This is just all-out bloodbath. This is a 3 for 2 in favor of Kryix Tempest right now, but Valimar wants more. He's going to get a pick onto Junkrat. Junkrat falls as well, and Raver is now left behind. Lupus and Valimar, the only ones up, facing a DPS and a healer. Who wins this one, Jinxie?
Oh my goodness, there's so much damage, but there's so much help on either side. They're gonna run down. Valimar can chase almost indefinitely. They have no mana, and it looks like Wolfie will end up falling here. However, Raybar, very, very healthy, gonna try and jump on top of Valimar. It's so back and forth. Lupus needs to be very careful. They have 54 gems. They'd hate to lose those. Valimar may end up giving their life to sustain. But they're gonna drop that barrel, get away. And I don't know, Blessed Shield comes out. It looks like maybe that was in favor of Kryix. I feel like that was a draw, honestly, Jazzy. The tank survived, and the damage didn't get to push in any further.
Kryix only 3 gems away from turn-in. They were able to drop off a lot of gems during that, just kind of soaking it out, waiting for the opportunity to take a fight. Both teams have their bruiser camps up and available here. Just gonna have to see who's gonna get this next turn-in, because I mean, a little bit of structure advantage for Kryix in that top lane. You have those katas now on every wave that's gonna continue to siege in and pressure that, but there's quite a bit of forts and structures down for Kryix as well. If a turn-in is grabbed for Wildheart Omega, they might be able to make a lot of progress here with it.
Looking good for Kryix right now. Ooh, that ice wall is gonna make it even better. Be able to drop that barrel, however, from Chen. Gets away. And there's a lot of big heroics burned by the side of Kryix Tempest. They still have an insane amount of push, and these lanes are definitely in their favor. All save bottom lane. But the team fight is now 50-50, I'd say.
There's a Blessed Shield, and the Durance comes out. They get the pick onto Cassia. She was a little bit far forward there. Bridge to Death going to icing away, and the Spider is spawning in right on the keep, but with Cassia down, I'm curious to see how much value they can get out of this turn-in now. They're in a clear mid, no problem. Top is starting to push in a bit here, but bottom, not even a concern right now for Wildheart. That spawned in way over on the side of Kryix Tempest map.
Hard luck for Kryix Tempest. Cassia is kind of their main push. Without her, they really had no choice but to retreat. Luckily, only losing the one, they can come in and look to regroup here. But this is allowing Wildheart Omega back into the game. You can see Webbies get next to nothing there, really. They're going to try and defend these turn-ins now because 76 gems on the side of Wildheart Omega. They can definitely turn in. And then look to turn in again. They have a lot of lanes pushing in their favor.
They could invade this bruiser camp. I mean, Cassia's down for 8 seconds. Falsad could fly in. They don't do it, but they could have. I feel like they could have done it. You have your Gust up as well. You could have pinned them against the wall with the upgrade. I really wish they did, but they do get the turn in, so at least they have that going for them. They're going to go ahead and pick up their bruiser camp, and they got the bottom siege camp, so they're going to have all that additional pressure with these web weavers to help them out.
Yeah, that's a really good point that I didn't even think of. Granted, they did get those camps. Maybe they thought that was a little bit better. But in a small circular choke like that, Wildheart excels. They've got that upgraded Blessed Shield, the Gust, as you mentioned. And then, of course, we have that Mephisto. He actually went for the Mimic there, but that's a lot of damage and a little bit of space. And by, you know, the will of God, they survive. Jinxeekatt would just say, all right, well, that was unlucky. Controlled chaos, get out of there. Then they go get that turn in. So curious why they didn't. Maybe they just felt they could get better with the 2 camps instead of the 1.
Their bruiser camp is going to, at least the minion giving them spell armor goes down there. Still about half health left on this mid-web weaver as they push forward. There goes the Blessed Shield out from Joanna. We're going to see the root signs from Stukov connect on to May. Riptire being used by Junkrat. It's going to hit quite a few members here. Does he? No, okay. He didn't take the upgrade at 20. I was like, does he get another one here?
I actually just looked for that too. I was like, oh, not gonna be the not gonna be the reset. Even though it hit enough members to get that 100% back. It's been really hard to actually find the Riptire damage between the Gust and the Chen barrel. You know, you're really only hitting the front line, so maybe that's why. But Wildheart, they're waiting for this. We hit kind of this spicy point in Tomb of the Spider Queen where you have to be really careful. You have to find that one team fight to really end the game.
Oh, Raver caught out of position here. You see the Condemn come out from Joanna. Apparition, Shade of Mephisto in, and now caught out of position himself. The Gust comes out from Falsad to help disengage, but not before Mephisto goes down. A 1 for nothing, and now Kryix going straight to the boss.
Great play there. They find the pick they were looking for, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. Though, I don't know. I feel like this has to be defended by Wildheart. They're going to have to take the 5v4 without their assassin there, and that's what they're gonna do. Lots of damage coming out. Suikop keeping folks alive just for now. Valor gonna be the first to drop here. Frosty Wind trying to keep the rest of the team available as they back out. The boss did reset a teeny tiny bit. Now the team looking for blood. We just have Junkrat and Sonya on that boss. A 3v3. Out comes that Riptire.
Looks like they're going to be able to secure this one. No turn-in to go with it, but top keep already down and 2 members dead on the side of Wildheart Omega. Do they try to close the game out with this?
I feel like if they don't, then this should be Wildheart's game. There's no keep up in the top lane. It's a very healthy boss. Mephisto is going to be back up, but False Odds Gust won't push away the boss. It'll just push away the minions and the heroes. They find some picks.
No, but look at Brown Ball's positioning. He's looking for the Gust into the top wall there. You can tell just on like the flank positioning he was trying to take there. Raver going in quite far. The Ice Wall gets dropped by May. Does not connect onto any of the members there. There's the leap coming out onto Mephisto, and the Gust disengaging them from the core. But Boss is still very healthy with this fight. Apparition taking a ton of damage, and poison damage ultimately going to finish him off. Core shields are down. Lupus stepping forward with the Condemned to try to push them off here. But this is not looking good. I have a feeling this is it for Wildheart for game number 2 as the core goes down to 40% health.
Heroes are healthy. Boss is healthy. The members of Wildheart are not. And that is going to be the game. Heading over to Kryix Tempest. That means, Jazzy, we have a series on our hands.
Absolutely, and I'm here for it. I can't wait to see what's going to happen in game 3 here. But before that, let's take a look at the match summary.
Very close this game, round 10-11 in favor of Kryix Tempest. And it really came down to they figured out how to avoid that Blessed Shield Mephisto combo.
Absolutely. You kind of hit the nail on the head there. Once that combo kind of fell apart for Wildheart, they were having trouble finding the kills that they needed and winning some of these team fights. Meanwhile, you know, the synergy started to come online for the side of Kryix. We saw May hitting some ice walls, and they were actually followed up with the blizzards, with the roots to really lock down and secure kills for them. Let's take a pop on over, take a look at the talents.
For sure, as we head on, and I think one of the things that also really helped was the Astral Communion from Malfurion. He could now engage with that Twilight Dream from a much safer location. And then one big turning point for Kryix, I think, was we saw the Blessed Shields combo come out onto Sonya. They changed up their positioning a little bit. They're like, all right, maybe we can't kill 3 people. We can kill 1 person with it. They jumped onto Sonya. She has the Ignore Pain, and that reduced so much of the damage that she was just able to get healed back up by Malfurion. They ended up losing that team fight. I think that's really where the game kind of shifted in favor of Kryix Tempest.
Didn't you find just watching these teams like spiders were nothing the entire time?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of turning? They just feel like they just got cleared and didn't even do anything.
I definitely agree. The entire time, you know, it's like, oh, there's X hero up in the offlane and clearing it out. All right, and now team fight. Okay, now we take a 4. The whole enemy team is dead.
No, both these teams kind of set up pretty decently for the defenses, just in the terms like the way the spiders responding in some of the times in the lanes. One would be so far back that they could prioritize one lane, then the next, and be able to kind of stagger them to clear them up. And they were just setting up and positioning or getting picks when they needed to for these defenses on the spiders as well, which just kind of made them feel like they weren't doing anything. Very back and forth series though so far, that's for sure. Looks like we are ready for match number 3. The lobby's just come up, so let me pop back on over to Jinxie and I, and we'll get you updated on where we're going to be headed. And if you're just tuning in, we'll let you know where we've been.
Alrighty there. Everything all set up. I feel like I joined this a little bit too early. I have to make everybody move. I always feel bad when I do that. Like, they're already having a hard enough time making the lobby, and it's like, surprise! I'm on the enemy team now. All right, looks like we're just trying to figure out who picked our 3rd game of the evening. If you guys are just now joining us, then so awesome to see you. We're glad that you're all here. Looks like we are hopping in, and Kryix did pick the map. So that's one thing I was going to ask is, you know, where do Wildheart go from here? But it looks like they're still happy to take that first pick. So our 3rd game, we'll be going over to, the pick at least, will be going over to Kryix Tempest.
Yeah, and we're going to be headed to Cursed Hollow for game number 3. If you're just tuning in, game number 1 was played on Infernal Shrines. That one a map picked by Kryix, but the win going over to Wildheart Omega. Game 2, we went to Tomb of the Spider Queen. Kryix continuing to choose map pick priority here, and grabbing their first win of this series as well. And we're going to kick it off game number 3 on Cursed Hollow. What's your thoughts? What are some things you might potentially be looking for in these drafts, Jinxie?
I'd really like to see more use of the globals here. Brightwing has been banned out most of the games, so I doubt that we'll get her in. But one hero that I think has always been good on Cursed Hollow that we don't typically see much anymore is Dahaka. This is where we see him the most. He's so strong on the map because this is an objective that changes lives. It's not like the Spiders. It's not like the Punisher. This will end the game if you don't deal with it properly. And Dahaka really helps with that. He can just soak until you need to come in. And for that, you know, I'd really like to see him picked up here, maybe in tandem with the Falstad, or if one team grabs the Falstad, then you do see the Dahaka, so you have a little bit of global presence on both teams.
Sure, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Dahaka either, because I know that Moist does play, or has played, a Dahaka. Not sure if he's still playing it these days, but I know back in the day, played a really mean Dahaka, so it's definitely a chance that we do see it picked up here. Looks like we have a little bit of a delay here. Somebody has a bit of a bug with their lobby, so they're going to drop and rejoin. We'll get into game number 3 shortly.
Hopefully that fixes it. I know one of the problems that you can have sometimes in lobby is it says you're opening loot boxes and then everybody has to leave and we have to remake. And okay, we're good.
We're good.
It's always so frustrating because somebody's like, can you stop opening loot boxes so we can get started? You're like, I'm not, I promise. Alrighty. So what do you think? We're going to see the same bans that we've seen in games number 1 and 2?
I think there's no way Lucio makes it through here. He can just kind of skate around all the walls in Cursed Hollow, top of just his high fives and just being very good right now in the meta. And the fact that Kryix Tempest has an amazing Lucio player, I would not be surprised at all to see it banned out, and I would be very surprised if it made it through the draft.
Ooh, Uther gonna be banned away first.
Unless they're gonna take Lucio. In that case, that's a possibility. No, yeah.
Right wing banned away. I kind of like this from Wildheart. We'll see if they do end up taking it here. Wouldn't be, you know, it'd actually be a really fantastic pick. Sometimes you ban out one. All right, Hogger banned. So
okay,
potentially.
So I have to think that they're gonna grab Lucio then.
That's what I'm leaning towards. It would be really, really spicy. Sometimes you try to ban one hero before another really strong S tier hero to see if maybe the enemy team will ban it out, and then you can pick something that's more favored towards you. You can definitely see they're both taking their time with this. Chromie is going to beat it up. So we should see Frosty grab the Lucio. Snap pick.
Yeah, there we go. We have that 200 caster IQ tonight. Frosty win taking Lucio to kick off the draft for Wildheart Omega. This does leave, like, you know, the May is still up here that they've been favoring. You mentioned Dahaka, that's something Moist plays. Stukov is something that's still up here that Wildheart has been picking up before, but now is open available for Kryix to take if they want it here. But they're going to go with the Cassia Anubarak. That's interesting to me that they're prioritizing Anubarak so early.
We've seen Kryix Tempest in the past, if you've watched any of the heroic games, take a noob whenever he's into Lucio, just because it is a point-and-click CC. You know, things like Uther. Anybody who's really got any kind of point-and-click are good into him, but he isn't who you necessarily think of as being a must-have really in this meta at all, especially with Falstad coming in, and now May. This is a really strong comp on the side of Wildheart Omega.
Yeah, I'm liking their draft so far. The Falstad pickup gives them the global. Of course, Falstad pretty great right now in the meta as well. And then May getting picked up by Lupus here. We haven't seen May play Lupus tonight yet, but I've seen Lupus play May before, and I'm excited to see what he does with it here.
Definitely a fantastic tank. There's no qualms about that. Sonya gonna actually be banned out really late in the draft. So obviously we're not going to see Moist pick it up, which leads me to believe that they're looking for the Dahaka. I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be banned out by Wildheart Omega right now, if they're gonna maybe try and get rid of like a Stukov, something that does counter. And it's actually gonna be that Malfurion. You know, that's one of Wolfie's #1 go-to picks. They played it all the last 2 games, so force them onto something else.
Yeah, I don't mind it if they're kind of like deciding that they want to get rid of a healer, which isn't too surprising since they don't have one picked up yet over on the side of Kryix. That is something he's been choosing to play all night, so makes sense here. There's definitely other healers he does play. I'm kind of interested. He plays a really mean Ana, and if they don't really have too much that could get on an Ana, we could see that come out, and that's maybe why he's holding off on locking in right now, so he can see the rest of the draft from Wildheart Omega before he commits to Ana.
There's another reason why having map pick it can be such an advantage, because now play your absolute god to your hero, and if that doesn't work, you know, grab the Stukov. That's still a really excellent pick into what is being shown right now. Yrel is interesting to me. We don't see Yrel often, and oh my goodness, Valimar, you're toxic.
I like these pickups. Hanzo's going to do great here. So many walls for scatter arrows to stall out these objectives. And, you know, Samuro, this is, yep. What more needs to be said?
Definitely discourage an Ana pickup.
Oh, for sure.
Ooh, this is interesting. Still a great pick into the Mei. Cryo Freeze, you can hit her with a 7-sided if you'd like. Otherwise, whenever Samurai tries to get on one of your squishy backliners, you have Palm. You know, it's a better Rhaegar heroic, better ancestral heal. All right, seeing if there are any swaps, and it doesn't look to be. So what do you make of this, Jazzy? Because I'm trying to wrap my head around it.
These are some interesting pickups, you know, the Samuro, the Karazim here. I do worry a little bit for the side of Wildheart if Kryix Tempest decides to play more of like a dive in and get there, because right now all of their heroes can do that. Cassia can close the distance with her Fen, Sylvanas can use her Banshees to get on in there, Yrel can jump in, Karazim can jump in, and Anubarak can jump in as well. So Lupus is really going to have to worry about playing more of a defensive Mei this game as opposed to being aggressive and icing in there looking for picks here. But let's go ahead, get into this game number 3 of our best of 5 series and introduce these teams. Take it away, Jinxie.
Alrighty, over here on the blue side, we've got Apparition rocking that Hanzo. Frosty Wind will be your Lucio. Brown Balla is that Falstad. Valimar is your Samuro. And Lupus is your Mei.
And over on the right-hand side, Kryix Tempest. Moist will be playing Yrel. TT Wolfie on the Karazim. Raver on Cassia. Bridge to Death on the Anubarak. And Will to Live playing Sylvanas.
Well, what are you waiting for?
Whenever you can hit the heroes when they don't clump it, and, you know, you can just speak nicely, I feel like it's always kind of an awkward lull as they walk to the lane and like, all right, you know, and not in.
Both these teams kind of just setting up in the mid, looking to get their soak and split off. Samuro's already kind of headed top, looking at capping that vision. I'm really interested to see what kind of sneaking around Valimar is going to do on that Samuro.
Always interesting to see, because there are 2 different types of Samuros. Now, at the higher level of play, we typically see the Illusion Master going through, so they can just run into a lane, be a pseudo-global of their own, and then, of course, get away. It makes it really, really hard to lock them down.
I did like what Bridge tried to do there, set up to slow the rotation on Lupus and let Will to Live go ahead, try to get that XP and maybe deny a little bit to the side of Wildheart Omega. Does look like Lupus was able to get down to catch most of it here, but something that you kind of should be trying to do as a tank player, slow them on those rotations, deny them that little bit of XP off those waves, especially in the early game, can give you that bit of advantage here.
Biggest thing about the game is it's soak. Kills are fun, team fights are fun, but if you fall behind, especially on Cursed Hollow, then it's just really hard to get it back. So they're gonna grab these camps, grab those lanes. I love the way they have it set up, and of course, just trying to duke it out, see what's going on. I won't be surprised if we see Samuro split off here in a little bit, and we'll send maybe like Brown Ball on the fall setup just because he can fly to that middle lane if that middle needs assistance.
We're going to see a couple camps getting picked up here. Siege Giants were picked up for Kryix, Tempest. Those are going to be heading bottom. And a Bruiser camp about to be locked in now for Wildheart Omega. And typically on this map, what teams will do is they're going to cap those camps that are closest to objective first so that they can use the ones that are furthest away to cap closer and allow them to just push during objective. If they can test it long enough, you might see those camps get some decent values in those other lanes.
Gonna see him push down here in the bottom. First tower already going down. Those Siege Giants really helping out. Wildheart just poking away. We've gone for those Thunderstrokes once again. Already sitting at 10 stacks, so they'll be able to continue to scale on as we've seen in the last couple of games. I'm curious to see if Cassia will continue to get through here just because she is such a staple to a lot of these team comp. We are going to see bottom wall go down. Camp has been cleared out. Now team's going to... Oh, actually, somebody's going to have to deal with this from Wildheart. If they let this push, it's going to be a big chunk of XP in the pocket of Kryix.
Now, right now, Lupus the only one down around this first curse here and actually getting stunned out here. Chunk down, drops a Blizzard, going to the Cryo Freeze, but they're still on him. They want this kill. Hits the fountain, and let's see if he can make it out of here. Will Live shut down the structure so there's no tower shots going out onto the team. And Lupus able to walk away, but a lot of abilities drop there to be able to survive. Nobody around for this interrupt here. They're just going to give this first one over, and bottom fort continues to be pressured here by Kryix Tempest.
Not an unusual strategy that we see. First tribute isn't necessarily the worst to lose, so they're just going to go ahead, push in, get a little bit of value in the bottom while they can. Brown Ball actually getting quite chunked out. Lupus going back in. They shouldn't have their Cryo Freeze back just yet, so they'll need to be careful. Lots of damage coming from Sylvanas, who is once again gone for that Might of the Banshee Queen, so no percentage damage here. However, the Black Arrows are back up. Frosty went running for his life. Lupus trying to put him out. Fort will go down, but nobody dying on the side of Wildheart.
Frosty just flew on out of there, managing to survive there. Level 7s are online though for the side of Wildheart. So they're having a 4-man bot, which means it's a little bit difficult here to double soak on such a large map. So they're missing a bit of soak in some of those other lanes. This next tribute will be spawning up in the top part of the map, side of Wildheart here, giving them a little bit of advantage in the rotation to it. Brown Baller is going to hang out bottom, probably fly in here to help and get his team even more XP advantage while he can. Samuro continuing to push in top, getting some damage onto Moist here as well as this trip spawns in, but really nice positioning set up here for Kryix.
Gonna try and fight Lupus out here. They've already burned that Cryo Freeze, so backing away. They've got him off the tribute for now. Moist has stayed. Brown Balla is flying back up. Ooh, ends up flying right into the enemy team. They have to back it away. It looks like in the meantime, Wildheart was able to pick up that tribute.
Now Lupus and then Brown Balla with the fly into the bush there created enough of a distraction for Wildheart to get that tribute, bring it 1-1. But look at Wildheart XP continues to get ahead here, almost a full level up on Kryix Tempest. And again, that's likely just goes back to the fact that they were sitting with a 4-man in bottom for so long, missing so much soak in their other lanes.
Really hard for them. I'm debating. I'm like, is it going to be hard for them to get that back? A couple of picks could bring him right back in. We're going to see him start this boss. The Hanzo does get them the superior boss clean. Bridgestep is scouting it out. Right now, it is just Nubrek by himself. He doesn't have any kind of cocoon or anything. The rest of the team is coming on in, but it's going to take a moment. Meanwhile, Falstad and Samuro, they can be there in an instant. So 3v3 so far. We're going to see them go on in. Lupus is very low in the back. Frosty win, though, keeping him nice and healthy. Boss, however, so far going over to the side of Kryix Tempest. Falstad is here, and they end up just giving it over.
That's a little bit awkward play coming out from Wildheart there. I mean, they just, Bridge to Death showed up really early. Instead of just stepping off the boss, going for the fight there, they kind of just let him sit there, dance around, and waited for everyone to show up before they went for the engage. And that just allowed Kryix to come down and say, thanks for the boss. See you later. We're going to go do ours now.
It's definitely just kind of a stalemate here. They're getting started on their own, and it's going down a lot quicker than I'd originally anticipated. So this should just be the double boss play. Tribute is going to spawn in the bottom next, and honestly, if Kryix wants to give this over and just push with the boss, I wouldn't be surprised by that. Camps are being picked up. Boss cleared out really, really quickly, and again, I feel like I have that caster curse. So I'm like, I don't think it's this good. And then it is that good. And you're like, well, you know. All right, then. Boss going to be cleared down on the bottom. Samurai getting started up in the top. However, a couple of heroes there to stop that. Meanwhile, Bruiser Camp being taken by the members of Wildheart Omega. This is Tribute Curse for Kryix Tempest. So we should see Wildheart Omega look to contest that.
Still seeing Wildheart just slightly ahead, but that XP gap has closed up. There's the Ice Wall coming out. Gus goes out as well. The Ice Wall catching on to Karazim, but no Blizzard to go on top of it to shut him down even more here. And this is now a 5v4 here in favor of Kryix. Samurai still clearing up the lanes, and he's showing right now in mid. So Kryix basically has the go-ahead to engage on this hard, and that's exactly what they're going to do here. Down goes Hanzo. Lupus getting chunked down a bit, and Frosty Wind going ahead and speeding on out of there. Looks like this is going to be a free trip over to the side of Kryix. Also a pick there.
We're really curious as to why Valimar didn't come. There was a lot to be dealt with in that middle lane, but now they have the curse. There's still stuff to be dealt with. Camp will clear out just a bit, but this is going to push the lanes in even further, Jazzy. So these forts are basically free. These camps are free. The soak is totally free, and it just... I'm curious what the comms are like, what Wildheart has in their pocket they're willing to give over so much so early on.
I'm wondering if Wildheart was maybe trying to play more of like a macro type game, have your Samuro taking camps, your Falstad that can kind of soak and fly where needed. But the Sylvanas kind of ruins that with the pickup over on Kryix, because if they were looking to do that, Sylva's just kind of taking advantage and running down a structure while they're trying to run around, do camps, and create pressure in other lanes. It's just not working out maybe the way Wildheart was hoping right now.
With such a big map, it's really hard to just constantly, oh, we're getting value here and here and here, especially with the team coming around and having more of this pick comp. I like what they're doing. The Urel is holding it beautifully against the Samuro, so Valimar isn't necessarily getting what they'd hope to get here. And I'm loving the Urel more and more. We are going to see big Dragon Arrow come out. There's going to be Mei with that Blizzard. Nobody getting caught there. Falstad will get stuck in the cocoon. Lucio keeping everybody safe. But Wailing Arrow, the only hero that hasn't gone out yet on the side of the red team. They're looking to just try and disengage. But there's a big ice wall. Rayvar very, very low. Stun comes out. Gonna see that Blade Storm try and catch Moist. Great interrupt. There's gonna be two members of Make It 3. Kryix Tempest going down, and Wildheart now actually ahead in that experience.
I love the use of Ice Wall there just to like funnel them into having to disengage through that choke. The Blizzard comes out, and they really didn't have anywhere to go. If they wanted to avoid getting stunned, they had to turn back around into the enemy team. That afforded them 2 kills, and then able to chase down the Anubrak for the 3rd kill. And now they're looking to open up the map themselves. The Siege Giant camp, though, going to get picked up by Kryix Tempest. So they'll have to worry about cleaning up bottom here in a minute. Boss is up. Sorry, Boss is up in about 50 seconds down in the bottom part of the map for Wildheart Omega as well. Now they also having that bit of a level lead, or XP lead, I should say, on Kryix Tempest.
See that camp picked up here in the top lane. I think we're seeing them get out of that funk and back into the way that they had originally intended to play this map. We're gonna see big cocoon coming out. Ice Wall will separate the Gust over the wall as well. Frosty able to go away, but not without bringing that ball lighting back into everybody. Anub looking for him with a push off, gonna save the day. All the heroics burned on the side of Kryix Tempest. Have to back out now. They've got nothing else. And Valimar just gonna burn that Blade Storm to grab that wave and head on back.
Now, Apparition, too, just wanted to shout him out for a second, did use that arrow and caught one of the members, Kryix Tempest, to save Frosty's life there. It wasn't a big, glorious arrow that you sometimes see on Hanzo, but it did its job, kept Apparition alive, and nobody on the side of Wildheart goes down there. They're going to cap that Bruiser camp. Next trip is up. It's over on the side of Kryix Tempest in the bottom lane here. I'm interested to see if they're going to look to contest this one, or just with the positioning say, no, you can have that one.
is going to be their first tribute, so I wouldn't be surprised if they let it go. It looks like we're going to have a little bit of a fight there. Going to see Sylvanas drop those Banshees. She does have the festering wounds, so just trying to get rid of these clones as much as you can. A lot of folks don't know, versus Samuro, you actually want to hit the clones and kill them. Obviously, if a real one is there, hit that, but those are his escape tools that he needs to get out with. He's going to jump in with that stealth, try and find the members of Kryix. They look to grab Rayvar there. We're going to see Arrow come out, hits 2 members. The rest of the team going in. Frosty Wind gets the push off. Lots of damage on Bridge to death. He's running for his life. Finally gets that unstoppable burrow away. Are going to end up seeing Cassia go down, though. Cocoon on to Lucio. Not going to be enough. As Sylvanas, it's also going to fall.
A 2 for nothing there. Well, I guess they got a tribute. So, is it really nothing? I mean, but bosses are up now, and with the death timers, we could potentially see Wildheart Omega either go for a double boss now, or just use this one, try to get as much pressure and advantage out of that bottom lane, open up the map a little bit more here.
No contestants here. They're just going to pick it up, lickety-split. That's the power of the Hanzo.
They do have 16, so I'm curious to see if they're just going to, with Trib coming up, they might take a look at boss, but it looks like Falstad's just going to push that bottom. They're going to set up for positioning for this next tribute in the meantime, and Falstad can just fly in. 16s will be hit here for the side of Kryix Tempest going into this next objective. So this is really anyone's objective here. Both teams sitting with 1 tribute secured. Both teams needing 2 to get that curse.
Brownballa has flown up. That boss is pushing. And I'm wondering if it wouldn't be better for Kryix Tempest to just give this up and go deal with that boss bottom. Because that bottom fort, they're basically condemning it at this point. It's going to go down. At this point, they should just stay and fight. Even if they get down there, it's going to be gone. We'll see what value they can get. Will to Live actually going to gather this tribute. Your arrow will come out. Stop. Will to Live stopped themselves from grabbing it. There's the ice wall. Wailing Arrow will end up coming out here. Going to try and gather once again. Those piercing arrows from Hanzo, though, making it really hard to gather. And with Will grabbing all of this tribute every single time, you're putting yourself in basically a 5v4. So they finally end up getting it. A lot of heroics burned by both the teams, but one step closer. Boss, though, getting quite a bit of value.
Let's take a look down here. It's almost dead there. Gonna see it fall in just a second, but that's a huge minion wave. It's still a little bit of health on the boss. It's gonna get 1 hit on that keep. Huge minion wave to have to be cleared up by Kryix. They're going to get that boss out in the top lane, though. They don't want to leave without getting that, because that just is a free boss for Wildheart if they were to all back off to clear out that bottom lane. Or even just one person shows. It's a big thing for Wildheart. They'd see that one person, know that a boss fight would be a 5v4 in their favor, and they'd take it. So not a bad call, but they are going to trade a little bit of health off their bottom keep for it. I'd say a little, but that's like half of it.
That's a lot of keep health to lose, especially with the whole team being up and available. Now, this is kind of a rough position for Wildheart Omega to be in, just in the fact that, you know, they got to deal with this boss and they got to go down. But of course, Brownballa is global. They can be there in a moment, so he's going to get started on that. Will to Live's going to try and gather once again, and we'll have to see how this unfolds, as Valimar going to get the interrupt onto Will to Live there.
There's the cocoon out onto Lucio as well. Ball lightning comes out from Cassia. That's going to get, you know, they spread out enough there to interrupt that. Only a couple bounces around. Stun's going out. Now the 7-sided strike absolutely deleting Mei. High fives being used all around to try and keep the remaining members up, but they can't seem to find that counter kill. There goes the Wailing Arrow and the Gust to disengage for the side of Wildheart. Will to Live getting the channel here, and this is going to be a curse over to the side of Kryix Tempest once again.
Another hard position. That boss was cleared, but a big minion wave in top, and now you don't have your tank to defend against these keeps. As they find another pick, we could see Kryix Tempest look to end this. In fact, they're on the bottom keep. They're looking for Frosty. They're looking for Valimar. Looking to take the team fight here. Brownballa getting quite low. Bridge to death, though, on the same playing field. They have to back up. Bot, of course, the name of the game here. It will end up going down. Valimar trying to clear out this middle wave, but it looks like they're going for the double keep play, and they will get it.
bridge, though. Valimar flanking in there on the Samuro, able to get the pick onto a Nubarak. I mean, at this point, this is like we've seen Wildheart kind of be behind on structures before in this series. If they can get a nice late game, pick off, stagger some deaths, they just ended up running at core. So I'm interested to see if they're going to try and go force something now that they have that pick. They're about to hit level 20s as well. And with Curse pushing all of the minions over to the side of the map, they're going to have no trouble hitting 20, looking for a fight while a Nubarak is down. And having that talent tier advantage on Kryix.
The curse is over.
It'll be interesting to see. We're seeing this Bruiser can't be picked up here. The only hard thing is we've got 15 seconds left on a Nubarak before he's back on up. Yes, we have 20s, but what can you really gain if you're Wildheart here? Best case scenario, you take that top fort, but the lane is pushing really hard. The members of the team are staying safe. Noob is back now. It was a great pick. It helped them get 20, but I just don't see what they can accomplish with that level lead.
Short ways off here for Kryix to get that 20. Both teams have their bruiser camps pushing mid, give them a bit of spell armor if they did take a fight there. Looks like Wildheart is eyeing clearing up bottom first before doing anything else. Still yet to see Wildheart secure a curse here. And they are 2 tribs away from managing to find one themselves. I'm even interested to see if they end up getting one before this game ends or just one of these teams wipes and goes core at this point. Do you have a boss up in the bottom lane that they could look to grab at some point? It does look like Kryix is making their way over to this boss. They want to keep eyes on it, make sure that Wildheart isn't taking it.
You definitely see that they're on the back foot here. We're going to see big stun come out. Goodbye, Lupus. Lucio Cocoon. We're going to see that big dragon arrow come through, but nothing really gained from it. There's going to be that wind tunnel. Gonna hopefully get Frosty out of there. Valimar is safe as well. But without that Mei, this boss is going to be hard to defend. And this is what I'm saying is they're definitely on the back foot with this. All their disengaged rogues have been burned. Lucy can come in with a high 5, but there is nothing to really lock down this front line. Apparition is low. Moist will pop that Ardent Defender. Silence coming out onto Brown Ball. They cannot use that barrel to get away. They end up with just low health bars. You can see him take the boss. Now you have to clear it, I guess. You know for a fact they have it.
Unfortunately, they still have a keep up in that bottom lane, so they'll have a little bit of help with clearing that. Mei comes up in about 12 seconds here, so she'll be up soon for the defense as well. There's a trip spawning in the top lane. That doesn't really give either of these teams anything at this point, so we're going to see Kryix Tempest just try to push forward, get another structure, maybe look for a pick and try to end the game if they can find it.
You know, they're going to grab this bottom keep, that's for sure. At least there's less value from the curse when you have no structures. We could still see a late game team fight to end this. The structures aren't looking so hot on the side of Kryix either. Big dragon arrow coming out. Unfortunately, it is just for the disengage. So Wildheart not able to do much else with that. Valimar, though, able to chase off the members of Kryix who are very low, so everyone else can get started on that boss who shouldn't really eat through the shield. Maybe a tiny bit here as the slam comes down. Nope, he's going to go down. Nubarak in big trouble. Rayvar in big trouble. Valimar chunking out. Meta's going to be Cassia going down. Rich Death is able to get saved. Wolfie, do they have the extra dashes? Yes, they do.
Can Brown Balla fly in front of them and gust them back into the team here potentially as well? Let's see, Moist is going to jump over the wall here, avoid that Blizzard stun. Brown Balla barrel rolling forward to try and continue. There's the ice wall that's going to connect onto Yrel. The team is split on who they should be focusing. Apparition is looking at the Nubarak, the rest of the team on the Yrel. They do find that pick onto Yrel. I feel like they just need to push and look to try to end now with these death timers. Looks like they're heading towards boss right now, but I feel like 24 seconds left on Cassia, 51 on Yrel, and a whole fort to go through top lane. This is just way too much time here for Kryix Tempest to come back up, and they're going to probably be able to defend this just fine. Meanwhile, pressure is continuing to mount on their core. I would have liked... I don't know. I think I just would have liked to see them continue to push in bottom. That bottom keep half health here. And the decent death timers, we'll have to see. Maybe they'll make this work for them. Maybe they're able to push this boss straight to core. But I just don't see it happening.
I absolutely agree, Jazzy. You know, something could have been done. Yrel is still down. That's a lot of the CC. That's a lot of what's keeping the members of Wildheart Omega off of Kryix Tempest. But they just... You can definitely tell they're out of their comfort zone. and they're very scared to make plays. Right now, Wildheart is playing to not lose the game. They're not playing to win. And if they continue this, then the war of attrition is slowly going to go in favor of Kryix Tempest. One kill could be the, let's run and go core. We have a 4v5. Our team is nice and healthy. They've cleared out everything, but they got a tribute. The boss got a fort, which, hooray. It should get this. Yeah, the tower will go down. Keep will probably sit at half health once again. But look at the members of Kryix. They're just in position. They're ready to go. And Wildheart once again giving it over. Not the end of the world. They're doing it, but they're sitting in base. They're waiting for Kryix to make a mistake. And I don't necessarily know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We're going to see that top keep survive there. A little bit of health left on it. They have giants to clear up. But right now, with every single one of their keeps down, there's just so much pressure that it mounts on the side of Wildheart's map. With those katas spawning in on every minion wave, is you really need to use those advantages and those death timers while you can. Otherwise, you're just kind of waiting, sitting ducks in the lane for your next opportunity to try and do something, and then rush back to core, because guess what? There's like 6 katas that have made their way down the lane.
At this point, I think we've kind of hit one of those positions where it's, how do you want to lose this? The team fight, it is scary. It is a really strong team fight on the side of Kryix Tempest, but you can try and fight, make a play, and go from there. Or you can slowly lose. If you take the fight and you lose, at least you gave it the try. But if you just hang back, then they're knocking on your door, and you're like, well, I guess if we have no choice but to fight now, and fighting on the terms of Kryix can spell disaster for Wildheart. We've seen it in so many of these. They're gonna finally go in, bridge to death, getting low, big ice wall does not connect, it splits the team. That's a huge gust coming out from Falstad, but everyone is so scared. Fight them, kill them. Cocoon will go down. It's a mass of bodies. A 7-sided strike comes in. Kryix Tempest, they're hanging on by a fingernail there. Samuro traded out for a Nuber rack. Moist very low in the back. Ravar is low. Will to Live is low. Wolfie is low. Come on, guys. Fight them. Take them. Do something. Finally, Will to Live is going to go down. Are going to see Cassia go down. Curse will go over. That's a 5-man team wipe. And is this enough to end the game? There's a keep. Okay, never mind. The camp is dead on the core. All right.
This is it. Yeah, they end here. This is it. They got it. Wildheart managed to hang on long enough. All the members down. That top keep is like 1 hit away. So Falstad's going to fly up there, finish it off. The rest of them can just walk past the bottom one and go straight to core now. And with these death timers, it's a pretty sure thing to say Wildheart Omega has game number 3. Managed to turtle long enough to find themselves the victory here.
Oh my goodness, Jazzy. I don't think Brown Balla deserves that. I don't think the spray and the gust, like, you guys didn't win this game. Kryix Tempest lost the game. You're celebrating because they screwed up, not because they made an insane play. And maybe it's harsh, but guys, come on. Like credit where credit is due.
No, again, I mean, all 3 games have been very, very close games tonight. So let's take a look at this match summary here. 13-4 in kills. I will say, a little bit of BM there, but if you look at the kill count, Wildheart technically played better, but that's not all that matters at all.
I don't know if more kills equals played better. They definitely played more patiently. They survived long enough, and I think at this point it was Kryix Tempest had a little bit too much hubris with the way that they played the game. They got a little greedy there in the end. It ended up costing them. But again, a really great series. I was glad to see Wildheart finally go in and use the heroes they had picked,
Yeah, I don't know. It was just, some of these fights were so back and forth. I honestly kind of hated the positioning of them too. I mean, you kind of saw all 5 members just like funneling in the little choke point by the bruiser camp over on the side of Wildheart. And I'm like, man, you guys are just clumping so hard for everything to be thrown out here. And so you're seeing everybody's health bars just getting chunked, and it was a mess in there. But Wildheart, I mean, it's not the first time, even tonight, that they've kind of made it to the end of the game, just looked for that late game fight, and then went core, even though structurally they were behind a lot of the time. So GG's to them. Let's take a look at these talents here. And maybe we can have a quick break as well so we can use the bathroom. But this is
I think it's a great idea.
this is a best of 5 series, so we at least have 1, maybe 2 more games lined up for you guys here. Anything you want to touch on these talents before you hit that break?
Looking through, everything looks pretty standard to me. Sylvanas going for Bolt of the Storm is really the only one that is, I think, maybe the most unusual here. Other than that, standard builds all around.
All right. Well, why don't we head on over? We'll take a quick little break here while we're waiting for that next lobby to come up. That way the casters and players can maybe hit the bathroom really quickly. So we'll be back in about 5-10 minutes here with game number 4. You guys are curious about what's going on here. Wildheart currently 2-1 up in the series right now. This is a best of 5 series. So, like I said, 1, maybe 2 more games lined up if Kryix can take the next game here for game 4. But we'll see you again shortly. If I can find my Be Right Back screen. Welcome back, everyone, to the NGS Heroic Division Finals here between Wildheart Omega and Kryix Tempest. We're about ready to get into game number 4 here, but let's give you guys a rundown of where we've been and where we're going to be headed for this game 4. Now, first game was played on Infernal Shrines. The win went over to Wildheart Omega. After that, we went to Tomb of the Spider Queen with Kryix Tempest taking their first win of the series. Game number 3 just missed a crazy game on Cursed Hollow, where Wildheart manages to come back to secure their second win of the series. This entire evening, all of the map picks have been coming out from the side of Kryix Tempest, and that's the way it's going to remain here as we go into game number 4 on Braxis Holdout. If you're wondering about those map bans, Dragonshire and Alterac Pass banned out by Wildheart Omega, Battlefield of Eternity and Garden of Terror taken away by Kryix Tempest. So we're kind of getting down there on what maps there are left to pick from here, Jinxie.
Yeah, it's always really crazy when we get to the end here because it's either going to be Volskaya Foundry or Towers of Doom. Now, my personal favorite, Towers of Doom, if Kryix can bring it back. But of course, this could be the last series of the night. Wildheart Omega have been looking really strong all evening.
Absolutely. I mean, these games have been back and forth. I wouldn't be surprised if we go to a game 5, but I'm sure Wildheart Omega is ready to try and close it out here. So let's go ahead and jump into this draft.
Absolutely. Now, the big thing here is that I think the game changes a little bit regarding how it's played. And the biggest thing is solo lane is so incredibly important here. Not to say that it hasn't been important in the last games, but this is kind of a life or death situation. You know, if you're losing one, you need to be winning the other really strong. And based on some of the map bans we've seen, I'm curious how the solo lane is going to go.
Solo lane's always interesting to watch on these maps where they kind of have to cap a point. They need to kind of win that 1v1. You might want to pay attention for any kind of picks that might be able to do quick rotations into that off lane to look for picks. We're going to see Cassia and Chromie banned out to kick off this draft, so a little bit of switch ups happening in those bans for the side of Wildheart.
Means a lot. Trying to find the right words here. Estonia is going to be banned out. We were talking about in the last series. Cassia has been a staple for both these teams. So finally, just going to even the playing field, get rid of her. Estonia going to be banned out. I'd be surprised if we see the Hogger banned away here, as this isn't one of his better maps. Something like the Brightwing or the Uther that we've been seeing all evening.
Stukov,
but the way that Wildheart Omega has... Yeah, Stukov's another fantastic one. I think Wildheart are starting to try and leverage that first pick here, as both Brightwing and Uther have now been left open.
All right, that's gonna be yeah, that's gonna be Lucy and Uther. Yeah, Uther. Oh man, Uther's open. I mean, here's the thing, Braxis Holdout, you don't really, like, you kind of want to get something that can win that early game. This is a map that you can kind of snowball on if you can find yourself with an early Zerg wave, something that kind of pushes with it well. That Greymane, that Sylvanas pickups we've been seeing from Kryix could work really well here. Let's see what they're going to prioritize, because that Uther, like we said, is still up, so that's going to be picked up by Kryix as well as the Junkrat.
Trying to play it before he gets all those nerfs, because Blizzard hates that we like to have fun over here. They're going to pick up that Junkrat again as well. Junkrat was present in the game where Kryix Tempest did come out on top, and it's really great on this map. It's great for holding down those points.
So Mei is still up here. I don't mind Mei on Braxis. She does have that Blizzard to kind of just drop on those objectives. Really makes it awkward for the teams to try and rotate onto it. They're going to go ahead and grab Tychus and Tassadar.
Tassadar is an interesting one. Diablo gonna be banned out here. Classic combo Lucio, Tassadar, Diablo. It's basically a free kill if they can land that with a wall anywhere. It's very easy to land those shadow charges. So we'll see what the members of Wildheart Omega are going to ban out here. Stukov, definitely a strong ban. See what they end up picking over.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind to see Stukov ban. They could opt for the Malfurion once again, because again, the roots just dropped on the points are annoying as well. But there we go. You called it. Stukov taken away here by Wildheart Omega. Still looking for an offlaner, another healer, and probably a DPS, because that is going to be a main tank. Uther likely. Bridge to Death is the tank player for the side of Kryix Tempest. It's usually where you end up seeing him these days if he is picked up as more of a secondary healer, more of a tank here.
Might just be a giant bait, though. You can swap heroes around. We're gonna see
absolutely.
Brightwing come out. Interesting. Brightwing, Gul'dan. That's kind of a squishy lineup, Jazzy.
Yeah, bit squishy, that's for sure, but they still have some very annoying things to have to deal with. Junkrat can kind of drop traps all around, zone members off of the objective here. Brightwing and Uther, you kind of have a little bit of a double healer with the Uther picked up for tank, so that's probably going to give Gul'dan enough sustain to be able to use his taps there pretty efficiently to get mana back and everything and stay healed up as well. All right. Well, this is Wildheart, so I can't say I'm overly surprised.
I was just about to say, we had that break. Someone's like, all right, get Justing on the phone, aka Pick Kid. Tell us what we have to do here. And I'm really excited for it. I think Deathwing is actually a low-key fantastic pick into Uther. A lot of people don't realize how much pressure it puts on an Uther main tank when you can't get on top of that Deathwing, especially when your ability to engage is to run at them. So giant just galaxy brain plays coming out of Wildheart here.
I agree with you. What's better than something that can't be CC'd into a point-and-click CC, and of course Deathwing, and he's not going to be able to be knocked back from Junkrat's trap. He's not going to be able to be polymorphed. There's a lot to be gained here by locking in a Deathwing at this point, and he also provides some great kind of AoE damage onto these points as well if you're trying to cap the objective. Just dropping that nice lava pool down for everyone to sit in. Even his fire breath too as well just chunks everyone down if you try to walk onto that point and he's anywhere near you. I'm assuming Vikings is going to be the off lane in a 3-stack in the off lane, and that's really annoying to deal with. So I'm interested to see how the matchup between them and D.Va is in this series. But let's jump into this game, Jinxie. Who do we have on the right-hand side?
Over here on the right, we have the members of Kryix Tempest with Bridge to Death on that. Uther Wildheart will be your Gul'dan. Wolfie is going to be your Brightwing. Junkrat played by... Everybody jumped on top of each other. Will to live, and then, of course, Moist will be your D.Va.
And over on the left-hand side, Wildheart Omega. Brown Bala will be playing Tychus, Frosty Wind on Lucio, Lupus on the Deathwing, Apparition on Tassadar, and on the Lost Vikings, we have Valimar.
Now, there's been a lot of confusion about Vikings on a 2-lane map. I think it's really superb. It does take a little while to get online, especially once you get that Norse Force coming out. The percentage damage when all 3 Vikings are together, it can be really a challenge. You kill one, there are still 2 more that can take their place. And having 3 heroes auto attack you while you're just trying to clear lanes can be really tough.
Yeah, and in addition to that, it's a reason people draft Rexar on a map like this. They can send the bear to the point. Well, the same thing happens with the Vikings. You can send 1 to the point and leave 2 to soak, or 2 to the point to fight someone, leaving 1 to soak. So there's a lot of value to be gained by having a 3-man Vikings in the off lane on this map. Ravar getting really low here, but able to walk away. The spell armor coming out from Tito to help him walk out of there. Loop is going to drop a stun, and everyone manages to sidestep that. Takes a little bit of damage there from the Deathwing.
Actually, to say Bridge to Death standing in this oil puddle as they've gone for that silver touch. So that's, of course, reducing the damage from, reducing damage with that.
He's going to do it again here, too.
This is perfect for him. 46 stacks. It's a really hard quest to fill sometimes, but this is just, free damage for him.
Let's take a peek up in that top lane because Junkrat has rotated up to help out the D.Va here. Valimar is going to cap the point. The trap's going to be dropped there and knock back the concussion mine used by Will to Live to knock one of those Vikings away here. And they've backed up to clear this wave now. This is going to be a 2v1 in that top lane. I mean, is it a 2v3 technically? But that's going to leave them short a member down in the bottom lane, which means the side of Wildheart is going to have no trouble controlling that objective. And in fact, they're getting a ton of damage out onto the members of Kryix Tempest while they're at it.
To back up and be safe. Ravar gonna grab that Brightwing teleport from Wolfie there, who's just able to keep him alive. Is one of the positives of that early double support. Not gonna find Valimar up here in the top lane. This is one of the hard bits about having the Vikings is they can't do much against a hard push. Ooh, Uther though stands in the fire a little bit too long.
Yeah, Force Wall cutting him off there, not able to walk away. So we're going to see First Blood over to the side of Wildheart Omega. What's basically happening, though, is, you know, they have the 4-man bottom, so they have the advantage there against Kryix. But Kryix is pushing in top here, and Valimar is a little bit struggling into both D.Va and Junkrat in the lane. So we're going to see Apparition come up, try to help clear out at least this camp. Well, they try to balance these lanes a little bit better here. Will to Liz does have some of those Junkrat traps around here. Moist about half health, but has a mech explosion to drop if he is getting dangerously low. So now it's a 3-2 split for both these teams at this point.
I really like the adaptation that Kryix is making here. Apparition coming out, though, also very helpful. Will to Live having a hard time. There isn't really a lot of CC to punish Tassadar for that 0.75 channel on the Q. You know, the fact that we always make the joke, he has to root himself to use any of his abilities. And this is going to be the point going over to Wildheart. It's down on the bottom. It's a bloodbath. Lupus, though, getting kind of low, has to back away. Only has 10 armor left. Frosty Wind equally as low. Brown Ball with short range. Able to still just chunk away at them. And now, at the side of Kryix Tempest here, picking up this objective.
Now Tassadar had to go back down bottom, so Moist and Will to Live able to just push that top lane in a bit more. Valimar not able to hold on to the point. We're going to see Apparition come back up here, though. See if they can make something work here, as the channel is continuing on for Kryix Tempest, currently sitting at 60% and climbing. Looks like they're going to make a push for this top point, though, but the mech explosion is still up on D.Va, so they have plenty of health here to live through this and continue to push off the members of Wildheart. We're about to see this Zerg wave be completed. Deathwing's landed again in the bottom lane, but 100% Zerg wave there for the side of Kryix Tempest to kick things off. That one's going to be spawning top lane. They've already got a bit of structure damage up there to kind of help this Zerg wave push in even more.
Bottom lane already being chunked out, so the team just going to keep on pushing away. That Gul'dan in the bottom is really going to help to negate a lot of the damage that Wildheart has down there. You can see the rest of the team heading up. And this is one of the hard bits. You can see Apparition having to back off and reposition. The big thing they want to do is get rid of these Guardians. They do spawn additional Zerg units, but beautifully done. Wildheart, they're on top of it. They're going to just clear that out nearly as quickly as that 18% down in the bottom.
Still, Wildheart here getting a lot of damage onto their structures. They've now lost both their fountains on their forts. Their front walls are down as well. So Kryix looking like they're in a pretty good position to kick things off for now. Uther also warding that bush, looking to catch somebody walking through there, trying to get that point and click stun onto Frosty if he could find it. But Frosty didn't want to face tag that bush, so he's going to live for now. We still see the 3-2 split happening now to kind of deal with what Kryix decided to send top into the Vikings. So Tassadar still hanging out there, and we're going to see a bruiser camp now picked up for Kryix as well.
I see a little bit of an invade come through here. Lupus going to clear that out, and the rest of the team just going to run. They know they can't fight the 2v3. We're actually going to see the Cataclysm come in as they continue to fight it through. Bridge to death is going to be stuck. They'll get the stun onto Frosty. He is very low. However, Uther dying isn't the worst. Will live, on the other hand. That's a pretty rough one. Thought maybe they could get that Junkrat passive off to kill the Deathwing, but Lupus is a big, thick boy, and as such, it's going to take to the sky and grab the camp.
Yeah, great
in the
play
opposite
there.
order.
Yeah, great play there for Wildheart. It's going to give him a bit of an opportunity to try to equalize these structures while the death timers are occurring here. They are spawning back in now. Uther and Junkrat back up for this defense, but they managed to take the camp and are pushing forward, trying to at least get that front wall down. Hopefully this fountain as well, just to take that away from Kryix for contesting objective as well. But it looks like with all the members back, they're going to be forced to back off. Lupus is going to land now in that bottom lane, so this is a 4v4 as D.Va and the Vikings face off in the top lane now.
Just continuing to hash it out. Reva really struggling here. Bridge stuff going to try and poke down. We did go for that Holy Shock on level 4, so not that additional move speed, but just able to put in a little bit more pressure onto the members of Wildheart. Free poke onto Lupus, of course, as well. It seems right now everybody is just kind of posturing, trying to see what they can get while their solo laners kind of duke it out. Camps need to be picked up. Waves need to be cleared. So as the objective comes, we should see them look to stir the pot here in but a moment.
We do have Wildheart hitting level 10s first, and Tychus is going to go ahead and immediately pop that Odin. The team making a call to push down this bottom fort while they have this 10 talent tier advantage. Those all their ultimates picked up for their team. Black Hole out from the Tassadar. High five from Lucio. Bellowing Roar picked up by Deathwing, and Vikings take play again.
And over on the side of Kryix, we've got the Divine Shield coming out from Uther. Fortify, of course, for Gul'dan. Blink Heal, Riptire, and once again, Micro Missiles. Try and maybe put an end to a lot of the wombo that Wildheart can set up, trying to keep everybody alive. We're going to see a similar counter push up here in the top. Going to hit all three Vikings with that Riptire. Fort for Fort traded out. This is a red objective for right now. Apparition has reappeared. And as we have these safe heroics coming out from the heroes, we're seeing Kryix Tempest be a little bit more aggressive. Hopefully they can look to grab something because Wildheart has just been so clean. Everything they're doing, they're making the opportunity cost so very minimal.
Wildheart still hasn't finished out that bottom fort yet, so it wasn't quite a fort for fort trade. It's tough here. I mean, Wildheart, they have a lot to kind of counter what Kryix is trying to do, but they just can't find themselves with the picks that they need and the times they need it. They got them before objective, they couldn't get them during objective, so we're going to see another full Zerg wave here for the side of Kryix Tempest, while Wildheart walks away with the default 18%, and it's getting cleared up pretty quickly by D.Va. This wave's going bottom, of course, so that's both of their forts down at this time, and still 99% health left on the Zerg wave as Lupus falls back down to the ground on Deathwing to help clear it up.
And I see that lightning breath come out to help him out. The molten breath, actually. Diablo is the lightning breath. Door pushed away, lots of damage coming through. Odin doing the best he can to survive. He has to back away. Riptire waiting to come in. Fort will end up finishing that off before it can be detonated, though. Keep wall will end up going down. The clear is great here. Now we're going to potentially see an engage. Rayvar is going to get blink healed away by Wolfie. Unstoppable comes out. There's going to be that Horrify in the back. But a Fear countered with their own. Wolf drops the cleanse. Great D shield. Can they get away? Oh no! Rayvar will finally, the team just has to leave him.
You know the nice thing, you can de-shield someone, but that doesn't mean they're going to be able to walk through Tassadar Force Wall, of course. So down goes Gul'dan here. Both these teams are very close on experience here, but Kryix well ahead on structures. They're going to go ahead and take their Bruiser camp while they can. Gul'dan back up in 6 seconds. Bridge to Death walking over, just kind of keeping vision here in case somebody rotates over to look for them while Gul'dan is dead. We're going to see Wildheart pick up their Bruiser camp in the top lane. Their siege camp is up and available as well if they want to go for that next, and that's probably what they're going to do here.
This is a really hard one to call right now. Both teams doing really, really well so far. See an invade coming through, but Deathwing comes down. There's the wall. Nobody getting through here. Teleport has to come out onto Uther there. And the big thing here is it's really hard for Kryix to execute their comp to find kills. When we look here, 4 kills in favor of 0 for Wildheart Omega. That being said, when you have heroes who get resets and heroes who just want to stack and do a lot of damage, it's really hard to stand that point with the Deathwing. On the other side of that, though, Wildheart, even if they lose this objective, they can clear it so fast. And the longer that this goes on, just the stronger that offlane is going to get, the stronger the Deathwing is going to get. Kryix going to make something big happen soon.
You see the Cataclysm come out there by Lupus, the stun drop, but it does not connect. Force Wall, however, though, catching Rayvar out once again. Cleanse come out to help him walk away there and make sure he doesn't get CC'd, slowed, or anything. And they're going to manage to secure this bottom fort finally. Meanwhile, D.Va and Junkrat are top lane. They got out that siege camp, and they're going to push that forward a little bit. Boss is up here. Both teams just continuing to peek at it, make sure no one's trying to sneak it. But here's objective starting up once again here in 25 seconds.
Boss is an interesting one. If it's taken, I believe it'll be by Wildheart, just because while the poke is there to kind of push out Lupus on that Deathwing for the objective, you know, if he lands in the middle of that boss when you're fighting over the point, it's really, really hard for Kryix to really sustain versus that fight, especially with what they're holding up right now. Now, maybe if D.Va comes down with the bomb, that could change, but I don't think that we'll see Kryix initiate the boss anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think either of these teams are looking to go for a boss play until they found a pick or two on the enemy team. So we're going to see them kind of, you know, Kryix going for the aggressive rotations, looking to try and pick somebody off on the way down to bottom. We have Junkrats continuing to hold bottom point here, and now Uther capping top, and the channel starting once again for Kryix. I mean, Wildheart needs to make something happen here They can't just continue to sit back and eat these Zerg waves. I mean, maybe they'll prove me wrong. Maybe they'll continue to eat Zerg waves, defend them no problem, and win a late game team fight again. Look at this. Uther having to use that Divine Shield to stay alive here. The Mech Explosion out on D.Va, and here comes the Cataclysm from Lupus into the backline. Will to Live getting chunked down, but uses that Concussion Mine to reposition himself to safety. Moist left in the backline, but he's going to go ahead and use those thrusters on D.Va to get on out of there. Wildheart manages to push back the members of Kryix Tempest. Raver getting cut off by that Force Wall once again, but the phase shift from Brightwing is going to connect and keep him healed up for now. And they push them back, but it's only a matter of time before they walk back in, and Lupus is incredibly low, doesn't really have much left here to sustain himself as Deathwing, who, you know, can't get heals. Apparition also quite low.
Jump having been used by the Vikings. We're gonna see the Odin pop out here, and this is the power of the double support. The team is able to fight for so very long. Gul'dan has his own healing as well. This is once again going to be another Zerg wave going over to Kryix Tempest here. We're gonna see that spin come through for the Vikings. We saw the jump used just a moment ago. Gonna look at everything here, and it is very hard to fight against this Zerg wave and to continue, you know, losing to them. However, we just saw Wildheart Omega lose every single curse up until the last one and pull out a win. So still plenty of time to turn this around. They are behind on these structures, but again, Apparition and Brown Bala are just insane at clearing out this objective.
Objective crashing now onto this top keep. We do see Junkrat on the flank there trying to kill the Vikings, and he does just that, getting two of them down, looking for the third one. But here's the play again, so they're going to be revived, and top keep does go down in the meantime. Still 28% left on this Zerg wave. They could look to maybe position a boss here, but there's Lupus going in with the Cataclysm. Once again, drops the stun, connects onto Brightwing, who's able to blink heal on out of there. The Divine Shield used on Junkrat to allow him to walk away here. Raver split off from the team. The grenade comes out from Tychus. Here's phase shift from Brightwing, but interrupted. Great interrupt, but the blink heal connects. Not enough to keep him alive, though. Down goes Gul'dan. Let's see if they continue to chase for more now. They do have to worry about their core. There's a Zerg wave still up there, and they've already taken off shields. 70% left on the core. Somebody has to go back and deal with this.
At this point, it's just Kryx's job to keep him there, and finally Brown Ball and Apparition are going to clear it out, but they lost almost half the core in that fight. Half the core for Gul'dan isn't necessarily the most value they could have gotten. However, we could see him look to grab this boss here. Gul'dan still down, fighting a 5v4 versus this team would be suicide.
Only 5 seconds here before Gul'dan is back up. Boss is melting pretty quickly. Bridge to Death knows what's going on. There's the Force Wall out from Tassadar. They're not going to be able to contest it this time. There's the Junkrat Riptire coming out as well, but at this point, too late. A little bit of damage onto the boss to help start to clear it up already. But again, Wildheart Omega kind of needs to play cleanup crew themselves here. Their lanes are getting pushed in by siege camps and bruiser camps. And although they got the boss, it's more of just, you know, take it off the map, take that win condition away from Kryix at this Kryix Tempest at this point. Not necessarily a boss play to actually gain too much for them.
And just continue to push away, like you said. It's pretty much a free boss clear just so they can get their own lanes in check. The hard thing now for the members of Wildheart Omega is they do have that top lane on a timer. It's going to be really hard to cap the top point with nothing to fall back to. Vikings up there, absolutely. You can play again and bring it on back. Once you get that level 20, you can go for the heroic upgrade. So even if they all die, 10 seconds later, they're back to continue the fight. Is going to be difficult there, and I think they're going to have to rely on their team fight prowess a little bit more.
Now, surely we see a Junkrat Riptire upgrade this time around, right? With the 3 extra bodies?
Be right?
There's the Divine. Oh, go ahead.
It will come out. Once again, they try to look for that siege camp. Not going to find it. It's sent away. Begins activating soon. I like this by Wildheart. They're in a great position to try and contest. They can find a couple of picks here. You know, Braveheart has been the hero of choice. Still, no kills for Kryix Tempest, and they're still able to beautifully hold on to this experience.
I would like to see them force a fight here before Divine Shield is back up, because that has been really clutch here for Kryix Tempest to surviving some of these team fights. So they have about 50 seconds before that's back up and online here if they want to try and do something. We're going to see them push forward on bottom lane, try to create a little bit of pressure here. And maybe, just maybe, it'll bait Kryix into wanting to take a fight. There's a force wall out onto Rayvar. He's going to be stuck in an awkward position. Black Bolt comes out, but it does not connect. Rayvar getting chunked here. Riptire being used by Junkrat, but the phase shift coming in from Brightwing, able to heal him up. Only slightly there. But again, not too much found. Just damage traded back and forth. Everyone manages to stay alive for now. Vikings are clearing out top lane, pushing forward there. And Wildheart Omega continues to hold on to that bottom objective. So no Zerg Wave channel yet either.
They're doing a great job of not only taking care of their own lanes, but being able to control the map as well as they are. Kryix Tempest are kind of running for the hills. We're going to see Eric go down, but of course with play again, they can bring him back whenever they need him. Currently not a big issue, so just going to leave it for now. Bottom has been capped. But this is where it gets a little bit spicy. We have two trying to fight down here in the bottom. Our 2-3 split that we've been seeing all game, and in the top, it's really, really rough for the Vikings.
And right now, you can kind of have vision of where a lot of these members are because Valimar is scouting them out on the Vikings. So they know 3 are top. They want to really push forward for this while they can. Moist getting chunked there by the grenade as well as Will to Live. Has that mech explosion up, though, if his health bar gets too low. He doesn't want to feed the team a little bit of XP. There's the force wall out from Tassar. Bridge to death, walking away through the top there. And Wildheart want this camp. They're not giving it over for free. Lupus is going to take a bit of damage in return. Riptire comes out here. See if they can find anything with it. Again, just hits Lupus, but he's able to survive and play again. Popped by the Vikings in the back line. Moist getting quite low. Bridge to death having to use that divine shield once again. We're going to see the mech getting popped there on D.Va before she used that explosion. Wanted to hold on to it for a better time there. Top lane's getting pushed in, though. They do have a Kata up there walking in, and there's Katas on every single wave, so this is something that they continuously have to go back to clear up.
Valimar will be able to take care of that pretty easily. D.Va going to have to do the same in the bottom lane. It's an interesting play for Kryix to try and take that camp there. Taking the camp in front of the Vikings is, not something that we typically see folks doing unless they're very comfortable with what's going on the map. And as we saw there, they ended up losing it. They are going to grab this objective for the time being. However, no one is top, so the Olaf up top should be able to put a quick end to that. Brown Bollock going to get hit with that stun, but of course Lucio has that high five, so nice and safe there. A little bit of root onto Apparition, but it's just posturing for both these teams.
Level 20's hit now, though, for the side of Kryix Tempest, and we do see the Junkrat tire upgrade, meaning he's going to get resets here if the Vikings and the rest of the team clump together. And I kind of feel like that's been happening quite a bit on these series. You've been seeing some of these teams, these teams funneling through these choke points, so we might find some big value off this Rip tire tonight.
Especially with that play again from the Vikings. They've actually ended up going for that Fury of the Storm, not a talent we typically see here. But one Viking has to channel for 2 seconds. Keep will end up going down, and once again, Wildheart faced with a naked core. They're going to try and look for the team fight here. Lupus is in the back. Bridge is going to get stunned by that large and in charge. Has to pop the D-Shield. Brightwing teleporting in to save the day. We're going to see the Black Hole come out, and as well as that bellowing roar. Nobody going down just yet. Everybody pressing their R buttons. Members of Wildheart still looking pretty healthy. They have the Cataclysm, have the Play Again, and the Odin.
See here, we're going to see D.Va take back top point. They've already got 26% channeled here. One of the big problems, though, is even if they do manage to team wipe here, they get a Zerg wave. The problem with that is that there's a Zerg wave that's still going to show up in their lane. And even with everyone dead on the side of Kryix, it's still going to be enough to potentially end the game if somebody doesn't defend it. There's the Cataclysm coming in through the top. Remind, Divine Shield's down. Bridge to Death is in trouble here. Moist is going to get stunned out as well. It's going to be able to make it out of there. Uther trait value coming online there to keep D.Va alive. Gets back into the mech before falling here. And that's a 1-for-0 in favor of Wildheart Omega.
They're gone for the upgraded D-Shield. Go right ahead.
Oh, they're going to go ahead and start up the boss here, but all eyes are on them. Kryix Tempest knows what's up. Curious to see if they're going to stay on this right now because Loop is quite low, Apparition low. The Vikings just eating a Rip tire. Might be a little bit risky for them to stick on that. And the bottom point is getting capped once again by Kryix, giving them a couple more percent here towards the Zerg waves. Currently sitting at 68%, and Wildheart doesn't have anything. 3 Katas on core, by the way.
Katas will have to be dealt with, and this is really hard, like you mentioned, Jazzy, because even a 30% Zerg wave can end the core at 50% health like this. Even if 100% comes out from Wildheart, I don't think that they'll be able to go and look to end the game unless they can just supersonic speed clear it and head over. Maybe if they do find the full team wipe, it's gonna be a tough one though. Everybody's back up. All those heroics are coming back online. Are gonna see the Rip Tire dropped here. Lupus is in the back. That's another 100 Zerg wave. The members of Wildheart, they need to get out now. Olaf gonna go down. They're still team fighting. Bottom is pushing. The timer is ticking. They want to leave, and Kryix doing everything in their power to keep them here.
A nice big Zerg wave here headed in bottom for Kryix, and they're stalling out the retreat fairly well here. The Wildheart is trying to make. We're going to see the black hole come out. Bridge to Death trying to walk forward, slowed by the Deathwing, but the core is about to be attacked here by the Zerg wave, and the members of Kryix Tempest are also here to help out in the top lane. This is looking pretty rough for Wildheart to try to defend here. I mean, if they can pull it off, I'd be surprised. They would involve a full man team wipe, and at that point they could go core, but it's just shredding through core at this point. And it's looking like game number 4 will be going over to the side of Kryix Tempest. GG and well played. We got a game 5 on our hands, Jinxie.
Oh my goodness, Jazzy. I'm trembling from that game here because I looked at while everybody was ending, and you know, we had a little bit of a lull there. So as you can see here, 7-1, and the only death was Valamar's Viking. So that means it was 4 Viking deaths. Obviously, not necessarily the worst thing in the world there. The amount of macro that our Kryix Tempest had, 7 kills going over to Wildheart. They were taking these team fights and they were coming out swinging. I was like, all right, you know, this is Wildheart's game. They got this. They're looking strong, but they constantly stayed in line with the XP. They found the objectives and just overall really well played.
These fights so back and forth here, but Kryix able to get a little bit more value out of doing that 3-2 push, getting those forts down, even without their Zerg waves there, and then allowing their Zerg waves to do even more damage when they go straight to keep and get a little bit more value out of them there as well. Let's pop over, take a look at these talents, but how pumped are you that we're going to a game number 5 for the Heroic Finals?
Oh my, like I said, I am shaking right now. I'm trying to find the words because my brain is just moving 100 miles a minute. Really great job. And it's either going to be Volskaya Foundry or Towers of Doom. And I think all good series end on Towers of Doom.
I'm interested to see what they think. I think both those maps could be exciting to cast. I love Towers of Doom. It's one of my favorite maps. And I do think it's a great series to end off on because it's really... it's the comeback map, so even if you're down to one shot on your core, it's not over yet. You can still manage to find a way to make it work out. But Volskaya is typically a late game map as well, so both could be just as fun to watch. Anything you want to touch on for these talents?
Looking through here, the big one, Bulwark of Light. I thought maybe that was going to be the play. They got the Uther. He didn't have that redemption. So, unfortunately for Wildheart, it didn't end up working that way. And then Force Barrier for Apparition. I really like Force Barrier. I think the Force Wall's got an insane amount of value. So it was really cool to see. Apparition played out of their mind for that game, but just couldn't hack it. Looks like our map is ready, and I am excited.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into this lobby here. Do you think it's going to be another map pick from Kryix, or... It's looking like it. Let me update the map overlay for you guys really quick. We'll give you a rundown of where we're going for game number 5 here in just a moment. Pop on over to those map selections now. This game number 5 is going to be played on Volskaya Foundry, and surprise, surprise, look who picked this map. Once again, Kryix Tempest coming in with the map pick. Wildheart Omega opting to go with first pick when given the choice here. So, I mean, I know you kind of said you wanted Towers of Doom for the last one, but how are you feeling about Volskaya? Is there something you think we might be seeing here, or some picks or bands you would be looking out for?
I think the biggest thing here is we're probably going to go back to our roots of games number 1 and 2, where, again, not the end of the world if you don't grab this objective. There are lots of things you can do to push lanes and get value elsewhere. Big thing is there are a couple of heroes that rise in priority here. Yrel, we saw it played in game number 3, I believe. Didn't end up getting the win, but really great for holding a point. Jin, great, especially if you don't want to get that, if you want to push someplace else. Maybe see if you can't let that Sonya sneak through. She's being banned away later and later. So lots of different ways to play this. And I'm really excited to see what the teams do.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if either one of these teams go with more of a strategy of like, not so worried about objective. If we get it, cool. But if we don't, let's draft something that can just, go push that bottom lane in. We saw the Sylvanas earlier. We saw the Greymane earlier. Maybe they look to grab something like that again. Don't worry too much about grabbing that objective. And once objective does go over to the side or the enemy team, you just go push a different lane and get just as much value, if not more sometimes, out of counter pushing.
Absolutely. And, I really love when teams can do that. We're actually seeing a lot of the higher level, the higher series getting rid of Volskaya just because the teams have figured out how to play the map so crisply and cleanly. So that can make for a really exciting game. A lot of players saying, well, it's not necessarily the most fun map, but it gets the job done. And it's really where you get to see how shot calling and macro, micro, everything come together to make for an exciting game.
Now, I'm interested to see, do you think Wildheart is going to go with a more traditional draft here? Or are they going to kick off or end off this series, end off season 11 for Heroic Division with something a little bit more Wildheart traditional type draft?
I could definitely see them playing something spicy. The Deathwing tank again, it didn't work for the last game, but it really excels here on Volskaya Foundry. It's hard to get Deathwing off a point, so I would love to see that. Otherwise, I don't know. I feel it in my heart. Like maybe if Lupus can pull out the Pit Kid main tank Leo, that could be really fun to see.
Definitely be interesting. I'm not sure I've seen him run that before, but I didn't get to cast every single one of their games this season. So, yeah, I mean, I think big thing too, get rid of that Uther. Don't let Uther through the draft. Those Divine Shields a lot of the time save those team fights for Kryix. They were able to just kind of sustain themselves through it. The Divine Shield would go out, save whoever was the kill target for Wildheart. And with the Brightwing and Uther on the team, oop.
Uh-oh.
All right. Somebody dropped. So we're gonna just be a couple more minutes here before we get into draft. But as I was saying, with both Brightwing and Uther on the team, once that Divine Shield went out, they were able to heal up that target for the most part, and they just walked away without anybody dying.
Yeah, we saw Frosty win, who excelled on the Lucio. We've been talking so much about Wolfie's Lucio, but I think Frosty Wynn played an equally fantastic Lucio. However, it just wasn't there. Anytime we tried to go in, we got the stun off, which was kind of unlucky for them. And then, like you said, the D shield just allowing them to survive at the end. Especially, we saw Lupus go in with the Bellowing Roar, and it was a really good Bellowing Roar. But a split second before, while he was channeling, we saw that Bulwark of Light come out. It covered 3 or 4 members, so nobody was feared away from the core. Ended up resulting in that loss there. So Uther still pretty good, it turns out.
Yeah, I was surprised to see him make it through that draft, and of course no surprises to see Kryix pick it up there, first pick last draft. So let's see if it makes it through this one. We're getting into this draft right now. This is game number 5 of our best of 5 series for the NGS season 11 Heroic Division Finals.
A big game. I don't remember if this is the way they're doing it this season. Maybe if one of the members of leadership are in chat, they can help correct me if we're doing it the same way. But last season, the team that won Heroic Division did end up getting a spot in Storm Division, not to, they didn't have to fight through the qualifiers like everybody else. And that is one of the series where we have a prize pool. So lots on the line if that's still the case here. Big respect from the teams. Chromie, Lucio, Uther banned out. Nothing new here.
Yeah, no surprises to see Uther taken away right away. Lucio gone as well, so it won't be a first pick Lucio for the side of Wildheart this time around. And in fact, they're going to prioritize Cassia.
I think it's a solid pickup. Cassia won almost every single game tonight. I believe there's only one where she's fallen behind a little bit there. And Brown Balla does a stellar job on the hero. You know, I think it's one of the most synonymous heroes with the player because they really, really shine on it. Also great for, you know, some heroes like Mephisto. I know we've only seen Wildheart play that tonight, but it really discourages their opponents from playing it just because that's a free Valkyrie.
All right, May Hogger picked up here for the side of Kryix Tempest. Again, not too surprised. Hogger, Sonya both left off, so it was kind of just your choice of which one you would prefer here. And May also, you know, we've seen Lupus play it. We know both teams play it, so picking it up now is a bit of a denial to the side of Wildheart Omega. Wildheart picking up Sonya and Stukov here.
We're seeing a very similar comp to game number 1, and I'm liking it. Frosty plays a stellar Stukov. Valimar sticking to the more traditional off lanes. I think much to everybody's chagrin, we've gotten to see some really fun off lanes out of them tonight, but Sonya just way too strong. Gonna ban out that Lupus Diablo. Makes a lot of sense, trying to make it as easy on themselves as possible. And that's fair. That's a good ban on Volskaya Foundry.
There's the respect ban too. The Junkrat goes out. You know, we've seen Will to Live play Junkrat in both of Kryix's wins tonight. So just trying to take away some of those pieces that have led to Kryix's success in the games that they won tonight.
They're forcing them into a very similar draft. They've been not exceeding, I think, as well as they'd like to. We see, ooh, Medivh, though. That may change things as we're hopping on in here. Malfurion once again coming out. This time, though, Hogger on the side of Kryix Tempest. He's really great at clearing those camps. And, of course, camps are what it's all about on Volskaya. So we'll see if that changes things up again. It's just little subtle changes that can make or break this game.
You're talking about, oh.
Wow. That's
okay,
a great kill comp.
But the thing is like, Kryix already drafted the things that kind of counter what they're doing. They have Medivh. Now you're going variant taunt comp with the Li Ming to blow up here. You have your Stukov to drop silence, but what's it going to do if Medivh's just like, shield? Oh, you're teleported out now. You're safe every single time. It's almost like Kryix read the future here and knew what they were trying to draft, but Wildheart thinks they're still going to be able to make this draft work regardless and picked up the variant Li Ming anyway.
Yeah, that's a really good point that I hadn't thought about. You come in here, you get variant charge taunt, as you said, just shield, no kill for you, and then you can drop Malfurion roots underneath it. Variant very strong into May, but I don't know if this is it, Jazzy. We'll have to see, of course, because the draft doesn't always decide the outcome.
Goon says, who says this is taunt? Oh, this is going to be a C-slash variant? Oh.
I mean, that's spicy, but, like, I feel like the same thing applies. You see Varian go in and you shield, and even if you have negative armor, negative 100% damage, I feel like kind of trumps negative armor, you know?
Oh, we're going to have to see here if they can make it work out. Definitely interesting pickups here, considering Kryix does have that Medivh. I mean, maybe they're banking on the Medivh player not performing as well on Medivh as he has on other things tonight. He is a very high-skilled hero. Takes a lot of practice to really hammer down here. But let's go ahead and introduce these teams. On the left-hand side, we have Wildheart Omega. Valimar will be playing the Sonya. Frosty Wind on Stukov. Lupus on Varian. Brown Balla on Cassia. And Apparition on the Li Ming.
And over on the red side, it's going to be Will to Live on that. Malfurion. Rayvar will be your Sylvanas. Hogger will be played by Moise. Bridge to Death is rocking that May. And Wolfie will be that Medivh.
I didn't realize that it was Wolf. They swapped in the draft, didn't they?
I realized that, like, as soon as we were loading in, I was like, wait a second.
And this makes sense to me because I'm pretty sure he does play Medivh fairly well. And Will is kind of flex, like he can play a little bit of everything. So not too surprising here. Lupus getting some damage dropped onto him, but the mid waves will be cleared out. And these members will continue to do that rotation between mid and top as their offlaners split off to soak bottom.
I'm going to see a little bit more aggression come out of here from Kryix Tempest. due to the fact that Variant, we always joke, isn't a real hero until level 4. So gonna try and bully Wildheart for as long as they can, and then have to play a little bit safer because this combo is still really strong here for Wildheart Omega in the early levels. Now, of course, could be Twin Blades as people are talking about in chat. Will it be the C Smash? We'll have to see. I don't think I'm the only one sitting here kind of waiting with bated breath for this level 4.
You know, Medivh aside, though, I do like some of these picks into Kryix. I mean, you have a Mei here, so having that Stukov to drop silences underneath Mei kind of leaves her vulnerable if she jumps into her cryostasis and you drop the silence underneath. Or even once you have your 13 for the root silence on Stukov. And additionally, Shattering Throw on Varian is going to be picked up on 13, so which means even if she does pop into her cryo freeze, the shield's going to be just immediately deleted by Varian. So it's great counters to a Mei pickup. Maybe they're thinking that's enough, but with the Medivh tossed in there, it's hard to tell if it's going to work out.
Alrighty, we are going to see the taunt, and you know, that's a great point. Medivh can only shield one person until later levels, and I believe it's 13 or 16, so still plenty of time for Wildheart Omega to deal damage. And based on the way that they've been playing tonight, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to bait out that force wall and then go in for the kill. You don't always have to engage with taunts. It can be there to kind of follow up, charge, wait for that protect, then get the taunt, then get the kill. Lots of really solid options for them.
And both these teams have picked up their turrets at this point, and they're working on siege camps now, as this objective is about to spawn in about 25 seconds.
Always about the camp. So we're going to see the first camp picked up there by Wildheart Omega. They have a little bit of the better early clear. Medivh just hanging out, trying to catch everybody out. With the taunt, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Varian go hyper-aggressive on the Medivh, because if you kill those stacks early, it's really hard for Medivh to get them back.
You see the silence dropped here. Moist coming in, knocking them off the point. The objective, or the Helicamp was capped by the side of Kryix Tempest, but they end up losing 2 members for it. They dropped that biotic emitter right away. Both turrets were used on these teams. Make that 3 members for it here, as objective is up. Raver's curthing back now to get health. Tito, the only one left alive here. And how's he doing on those baseline quests? Currently sitting at 20 of the 40 stacks needed to finish that off.
And this is what we're talking about. Great play by Kryix Tempest. They waited, they baited, and especially while Medivh is stacking, if you threaten him a little bit, you force that player out, just because getting those stacks is so crucial to playing the character optimally. So, you know, he gets pushed out and he's like, sorry guys, I can't. Good luck. And then 3 people end up going down.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, people sometimes think Varian's not that great in the early game because he doesn't get his, you know, he's not a hero. Hang on, Cassia is getting deleted here in the top lane. They're going to find that pick there, and that siege camp's still pushing forward, so maybe trying to get a little bit of value. But Varian is actually really strong in the early game because he gets his ultimate at 4. So once he has 4, he's weak until 4, but once he has 4, they can be a little bit more aggressive until ultimates are up over on the side of Kryix Tempest. And they did that at that camp, but unfortunately that Cassia pick here is going to allow them to get quite a bit of value out of that top push.
This is kind of what we're talking about, where Wildheart has grabbed that objective, but still value was gained else. We're going to see Varian and Sonya get in, see if it's going to be that top lane push or if it's the bottom push that we see sometimes at the higher levels of play. Right now they're looking at mid. It looks like they're slowly making their way up towards that healing fountain. If you can get rid of the healing fountain, it makes it really hard for teams to try and fight out that next protector. You can get the whole fort, and it makes it hard for them to really fight for, you know, the good middle chunk of the game.
It's a little bit awkward here for Wildheart Omega as well, since they've put their offlaner into the Triglaw Protector, sending Cassia to have to go match Hogger in the lane so they don't fall behind too much on Soak. They do manage to get that tower down, but they don't stick around long enough to get the fountain, and with both their front lines in this, they're going to go ahead and portal into the back line. This is a scary thing about putting your front line, and there's Brown Balla coming in with the Fen there to get the pick onto Malfurion. Crowd freeze pop by Bridge to Death. Portal goes down, and he is able to get out of there with the help of Medivh.
Great play by the Medivh. Came out, was able to help Bridge to Death get away. Of course, not without any kind of injury. They're probably going to have to head back and hit that fountain, at least tap. Medivh has finished that quest, so you can be a little bit more aggressive now. Now he can risk his own life to save somebody else. But, well, will end up going down. The rest of the team going to continue pushing with Cassia here. And Sonya as well. They're going to forego a little bit of soak, having that early level 10 lead, and try and find this fort here.
We do have Sylvanas and Hogger counter pushing in that bottom lane though. And keeping in mind this usually goes to a late game here, it's not a bad idea just to trade off here, get that bottom lane opened up and play more for, you know, a level 18 to 20 Triglav once it spawns at objective C.
Absolutely. And looking at the way that Kryix Tempest is playing right now, they're not necessarily concerned about getting these protectors. They have the Sylvanas, they have the Hogger, so if they don't get the objective, you know, tough, all right? They traded down in the bottom.
I just think not getting the objective for them is great because it gives them the option to do a couple things. You have Medivh that can portal behind it and look to pick off squishies in the back line, especially if they're going to continue to put their front line into the Triglav Protector. But on top of that, you also have the option of just being like, well, we have Sylvanas, let's just go counter push a lane while they use their objective.
Absolutely. A lot of the Grandmaster and Master players that I've had the opportunity to speak with make the joke that if you get that Protector, it's like, congrats on your 3v5, mate. It doesn't fight as well as it used to. And with the Medivh, you can make a lot of things happen, especially if we continue to see Varian and Sonya in the Protector.
Do you have siege camps there in the top lane? Sylvanas hanging around to clear those out. Bridge to Death going ahead and icing through the team of Wildheart Omega to get to mid lane and catch the soak there. Big wave crashing up here. Members of Wildheart Omega rotating up to try and find that Raver. Having to use those Banshees to reposition is going to be able to walk away. It's looking a little bit scary for them. There's the Ice Wall connecting onto Stukov. The Blizzard is dropped here, but not too much to find off of that. They're not even going to be able to slow them down for the rotation to mid to get their soak here. They're not going to miss too much. And in fact, Wildheart's going to go ahead and start up the support camp here while Kryix Tempest catch the mid soak.
This is the real objective here. It makes it so much easier on your support. They can focus on one person. Somebody else can drop the support item if they're falling low. If somebody else needs it, they're falling low. And it just allows you to stay in those fights for so much longer. Lots of push coming through. This is the heavy macro style that we've seen Kryix love and standard go-to. They're going to grab their own turret here for the moment. So they'll have to have sort of an even item level here, but again, may not even see them go there. Big taunt coming out onto Bridge to Death. Lehman combo comes out. They're going to find the stun onto Frosty Wind, and right now they're trying to evacuate. Sonya will come through. Great Ice Ball. Medivh portal is there. Leyline Steel also comes out. Medivh taking quite a bit of poke damage. Going to see blue turret dropped, but nobody ends up going down.
I love the patience there to wait for the leap. They waited till the shield was used, and that was like the signal to dive in. But unfortunately for them, the ley line's still up and available. And that nice little choke there that they were being led through was perfect for that to help with the disengage on the side of Kryix.
Able to get these back. And again, we have some relatively short cooldowns for the side of Kryix as well. In fact, I think the longest cooldown here is going to be that Twilight Dream. So Malfurion's the only one who really needs to hold on to it. Leyline will become even more reduced as the game goes on, so they can just throw that out consistently, especially if we get that Medivh cheats. So something to keep in mind for Wildheart here. We'll be trying to keep an eye on them. Nobody going for this objective just yet. Iceball will come out. There's going to be that Blizzard. Hogger jumping into the back. Mind control comes through. Goodbye, Stukov. Silence comes out. Mini Lupus can barely get off the heal pulse, but not without losing their life.
Apparition looking for some counter kills on the Ming, but not quite able to make it happen. And in fact, Cassia is going to be the next one to go down here. Bridge to Death getting quite low with those tower shots, but everybody managing to stay up over on the side of Kryix Tempest. They're going to go ahead and start the channel now on this objective. Nice like 23 seconds till all of the members of Wildheart Omega are up, so they might use this to their advantage and get some pushed in with Sylvanas and the siege camp. Sonya has been soaking it out this entire time and has almost got bottom fort down and is now rotating up to help with the defense on this top keep.
Gonna try and get this camp cleared away. The members of Kryix Tempest, they're already elsewhere doing other things, and they love to play this. A little bit of chip damage here, a little bit of chip damage there, slowly just wearing down their opponent's structures. I think nearly every single game we've seen Kryix Tempest ahead on structures here. Meanwhile, Wildheart, they have a couple of structures that are somewhat low. Hogger is sitting on that objective. They're going to grab their own turret. I'd love to see them maybe push this bottom lane or grab that top lane, depending on where the Protector goes while it's pushing.
At this point, Kryix is going to get this Triglav Protector. I'd be tempted to try and get a keep here, but without that level 16 talent tier advantage, I'm curious to see if they'd be able to even push it in. It looks like they just want to kind of open up the map. They're heading towards mid right now with this Triglav. Sylvanas here to shut down those front towers to help with this siege. And they only have one person in the Triglav right now, so it's not getting as much damage onto these structures as it could. Meanwhile, rotation down onto Varian. They portal in onto Lupus. Lupus is underneath fort wall here now. Uses that... the deflect there, but is going to ultimately fall with all 4 members rotating down to catch him. But look at the root silence out from Stukov here. They're going to find the counter kill onto Raver, who gets stuck underneath tower shots for a bit too long. There's the portal to help with the disengage. And the leap is now coming out as well. A lot of things going down there that help protect against that. So that's the signal for Valimar to go ahead, leap on in there. And they end up finding themselves 2-1 there in that fight. But keep in mind, Triglav's still pushing mid as Hogger is in that by himself, trying to siege down that mid fort.
Gonna end up getting away because Hogger does not want to go down. And this is a friendly reminder that Frosty Wind is not to be trifled with. Great job there helping out. They find the kill onto Sylvanas. They end up trading out that bottom fort, which is exactly what we were hoping for. They're going to grab this mid one as well. And for the first time this series, it looks like be ahead in, oh, maybe. One more main combo. There we go.
And like Apparition's not walking away from this without getting that down. I'm gonna rotate up top now, clear that top lane up. Keep in mind there's those periodic katas now spawning for the side of Kryix. Tempest helping to push that lane forward as well. Turret camp up. We're gonna see Kryix Tempest go ahead and secure that. Meanwhile, the biotic emitter is gonna be worked on by the side of Wildheart Omega.
Again, this is the big one to fight over. Will be help them to sustain in these fights. Once again, Kryix Tempest heading down to the bottom. They're going to look to grab this with the black arrows. Should be fairly simple. The rest of the members are rotating in, and we'll see if they're able to get it before having to back out. Raybar, he wants it. Is it Sylvanas Bloodlust? No, won't cost them as minions will finish off that bottom fort.
Top fort looking very close to going down as well here. Those katas are going to come forward, though, kind of help clear up what remaining minions are pressuring the fort right now. It's going to stay alive for now for Kryix Tempest, but do need to worry about it if they want to keep it alive and have that kata pressure going into this next objective. If they can manage to keep their fort up, it means that those periodic katas are just going to continue to siege out that lane as they contest objective, giving them a little bit of an advantage here. The siege camp is up for the side of Wildheart Omega. Probably going to hold off on taking that until closer to objective, just to kind of help with those periodic katas. But with Tito hanging around here on that Medivh, they are maybe a little bit afraid of an invade potential there with a portal and the ley line and everything that Kryix Tempest could bring out there onto the camp.
Kryix Tempest are going to run down and grab this. I didn't expect them to go for a spicy play there just because the amount of items that Wildheart Omega have there. They've pretty got these team fights made in the shade. I had a quick look at all of our available camps and items. Oh, we're actually going to see a little bit of a fight come out here as they look to grab Sonya. We're going to jump in with that maid. It's going to be Sonya who ends up going down. She doesn't even grab that turret, but the damage is preventing anybody. Finally, we're going to see Moist pick that up. There's going to be the follow-up Blizzard there. Great massive shove. It's not going to save Apparition, who's running for his life. Frosty Wind now in the same boat. Protected comes out. Rayvar wants it. They're going to turn off this fort, but not going to be able to find the kill. In fact, maybe they flew too close to the sun. There's the silence. Goodbye, Wolfie.
Great counter picks there, or I should say counter pick. They only got the one onto Medivh. Actually, you know what I really wanted to shout out was the well-read. They interrupted the leap and they read where Sonya was going to land and dropped the root before she even hit it when she came out of the root. So she leapt out of that ice wall because she couldn't cancel it at that point, right into a root to her death there. She had nowhere left to go. So that was very well played by Kryix. We do have this next objective up here. Level 20s on the horizon for both these teams. A siege camp cap top for the side of Kryix Tempest, and they're going to grab a turret as well before heading down to this objective. Still 20 seconds here before Medivh is up. All the members up on the side of Wildheart, so they do have a little bit of a window here where they can kind of get some channel, get their lanes cleared up, and get ready for this next engage.
Gonna be a rough one. Objective is going to have a little bit of a tickle for the side of Wildheart Omega. We do have Kryix Tempest having all of those items. I believe they have 3 turrets. Hogger picked up that last one. So all of the items were spent in that last team fight or dropped. Sonya wasn't able to get that turret off before her untimely demise. We're going to see this heal pulse picked up as well here. And once again, nobody really prioritizing this yet. Lanes need to be dealt with. Items need to be grabbed. It looks like we have 2 turrets and a heal pulse. So now the tables have kind of turned in the team fights.
Mid starting to be pushed in a bit here, too, by Sylvanas. They did manage to grab a turret over on the side of Wildheart Omega. Both these teams sitting with level 20s now. Just looking for their time to shine in a team fight and having the patience. As the objective's still up here, 28%. There's the taunt going out onto Mei, who eats a ton of damage from Li Ming. Icing's on out of there. Wave of Force knocks her back, stops her from mounting up to walk away. We see Valimar stepping forward to clear that wave, and Wildheart Omega on the point once again here.
The absolute trust that Bridge has in their team. They didn't pop the cryo freeze, nor did they drop that heal pulse. They just believed that their support and their Medivh would get them out, and that is indeed what ended up happening there. Now, we are going to see Kryix go ahead and give over this bottom protector for now, and based on the way that they're playing and where they're headed, they might not even go to fight it at all, and this has me kind of nervous, Jazzy. We're going to see Stukov end off. We're going to fight a keep, so they have the right idea now, but a bottom protector level 20, that can end the game. That can go right through that keep and straight onto the core.
Not fast enough when you have a Sylvanas to shut down your structures and just shred through here. I don't think that they could have just hung out and taken it without the worry of themselves potentially having core being pressured and threatened. But they do walk up, stop the push that Kryix is trying to make, get another bit of channel on objective, currently sitting at 74%. So if they can kind of bait Kryix to push a keep once again and finish off objective, they might find themselves in a little bit better position. There's the mind control going out. It does not connect. The Blizzard's going to come out, and Valimar using Leap to disengage out of that gank attempt from Kryix. But in goes Lupus. Taunt out onto Hogger. The shields here. Ice Wall comes out, connects onto the Cassia. We have the Blizzard on top of it this time, so we're going to see Brown Balla stunned out of that. But Frosty using those flailing swipes to kind of help with the disengage. Silence comes out underneath Bridge to death. He is quite low on that Mei. Another flailing swipe out from Frosty here. His Apparition is just blinking around, trying to avoid getting picked off by the members of Kryix Tempest. Nobody going down yet in that engage, and now the portal comes down from Medivh to get the members of Kryix Tempest out of there.
Lots of big cooldowns and big items spent there. We saw the heal pulse come out. We saw a blue turret. Looks like we saw a
I
red
want
one
them to go
as
so
well.
bad.
Oh no! Gonna grab this turret here. Rayvar getting the heck out of dodge. Top was grabbed, so that is gonna put a little bit of pressure onto Wildheart Omega, but they can look to take this down in the bottom lane. The rest of the team is mid. I think once somebody shows, we're gonna see Stukov pop in here. Middle fort seems to be the play. Turrets are being grabbed, and again, team fight is hard here. We're going to see everybody come in. Bridge Death jumps in, but then gets out because that's a rough one. Thought they could get there a little bit quicker, but what didn't realize how quickly that camp was taken.
This is a little bit. This map is just, I don't like it. Okay, because this is an awkward position, and Wildheart is like, okay, like technically we could get an objective, but is it enough for us to win this? Because they have a huge push top. They have Sylvanas to shut down structures. Does their Triglav get to bottom keep faster than Kryix Tempest shreds through top keep and looks to end? Or does it just turn into an all-out core race? We're going to see Kryix get step onto the point for the second, now come back up to try and contest this biotic emitter. But Wildheart, no trouble getting that. However, Lupus with the mind control. Beautiful leap out from Sonya. The ley line, though, coming in from the Medivh here, shutting down the members of Wildheart. We're going to see the turret drop by Valimar. The portal comes out to get them out of there. But the taunt, just in time. They're going to get the pick onto Mei. Moist getting knocked back in by the wave of force. The shield comes out to help him out. He's going to go ahead, try to hit that unstoppable spin on out of there. The mind control is out on Raver. Gets a nice bit of damage onto Apparition, but they aren't able to find that counter kill. And this is their opportunity now to go ahead and get this bottom objective. Maybe look to see if they can get more picks. Maybe look to see if they can try and end the game, but at least open this map up a little bit more. Without the front line, for the side of Kryix Tempest, they might not be so hopeful about being able to shove in these structures without somebody to kind of be around a tank and help them with the frontline portion. I mean, Hogger's still there, so it's hard to tell.
I am trembling right now, Jazzalene. I can only imagine how these teams are feeling. They're going to rotate through 19 seconds before May gets back. Protector has been picked up. Varian and Cassia are inside. So going to look to fight over this bottom. We do have Leyline Seal available, which will actually shut down the Protector for a little bit there. No Medivh cheats, and we've instead gone for the Arcane Brilliance. 3 seconds on May. Can they look for the fight behind without risking too much? Hogger will get caught in the virulent reaction. Protector is going to jump on top of this keep. Wolf comes in that bird form. Sylvana's looking to maybe get in the back there. We've gone for that festering wounds, some extra damage, and there it is. Leyline on the Protector trying to buy time, but not much achieved there. Iceball will come out. Keep will go down. There is going to be a Hogger jumping in. The stun comes out. The Sylvanas mind control comes out. Great controlled chaos from Frosty, who ends up dropping this heal pulse. Hogger with that no control, dealing lots of damage, able to get away with their own hog while Protector has been completely exited. Wildheart trying to deal that down so they can't use it on the core. Mind control will not connect, barely missing the sleeping Sonya. And the rest of the team, they have to back away. Wildheart debating to get back in that Protector, decide to forego it. Apparition is low. They need to be healed up. That is going to be the bottom objective taken out. The big thing here. Ooh, Leyline Seal, they're not done yet. I control sleep combo coming out onto Varian. Brown Ball going in, dealing lots of damage. Iceball will connect onto one member. Sukov is dropping that silence, though. Nobody able to get on top of him. There's the taunt. There's that wave of force. Arcane Brilliance comes out, but it's not enough. Hogger goes down. May is very low. Mind control onto Varian, but that is going to be Leyline Seal out. Varian is still connected, but nothing comes of it just yet. 4v5 on the core. It could all come down to this.
What a long brawl here. There's the leap going out onto Medivh. The taunt on top of that. No time to pop a shield. They're going to get a second pick onto the members of Kryix Tempest. However, Wildheart, getting chunked down here as well. The silence goes out. Bridge to death quite low. Rave are getting chased down now. They are all in. They want to clear out the members of Kryix and end out this series here. Core shields are down. 75% left on this core. 4 members down on Kryix Tempest. This is looking like it's going to be it for Wildheart Omega. They will be your Nexus Heroic Division champions for Season 11.
GG, what an absolutely stellar series. Great job to Wildheart Omega. They found the fight they were looking for. Medivh or not, they got the kills, they got the resets, and they got that win. Big congratulations to them.
Such a close series tonight. I mean, Kryix also playing quite well this evening. Every single game we casted in this best of 5 series, which was all 5 games, could have gone either way. They the entire time, both these teams just back and forth, just waiting to win that late game level 20 fight and close it out there. But GG's to Wildheart Omega, fantastic showing this season for NGS in the Heroic Division, and GG's to Kryix as well because they also had a fantastic showing this season. Let's take a look at this match summary here, and I'm going to hit up the members of Wildheart for their interview.
Sure thing. So we take a look here, 12 kills to 7 in favor of the blue team. It's how it's been most of the evening. Most of the kills going over to a Wildheart Omega, despite the fact that Kryix Tempest were able to stay in the game. They had some great macro calls. They made a lot of really strong decisions that ended up helping to keep them in despite the lack of kills. So really well done to them. We always say, it can feel bad to lose at this series, but I really hope that they don't feel bad with how they played tonight because like you said, it could have gone any way. It was a stellar performance, and I don't think that anyone here could have asked for a better heroic finale.
Absolutely. I mean, at this point, you made it all the way to Game 5. All of these games were extremely close. I wouldn't be feeling bad about it either. We're going to go ahead on over to the NGS Discord now and meet with the members of Wildheart Omega for an interview.
Absolutely.
Hello?
All right.
Hello?
We've got all the members of Wildheart Omega in here for the closing out interview. Congrats on being the NGS Season 11 Heroic Division champs. How are you guys feeling after that series?
Fantastic.
It feels so good.
Feels amazing.
Now, long way to get here. You guys have had to face Kryix before in the regular season. Going into the playoff match tonight, were you guys feeling pretty confident here? Did you have a plan? Were you scouting them? What was your thoughts?
We had a plan, but we didn't think it was gonna be that hard. So props to them. They definitely made us work for it.
They came out.
They did literally everything we had into winning that. So shout out to them.
Now, what's your plans for your team going forward? Are you guys going to continue to play together in NGS? What's happening there?
Unfortunately, we're gonna be losing a couple people, but we do plan to keep some version of Wildheart Omega together going forward.
All right. Jinx, you have some questions you want to toss out here?
Yeah, definitely. So the first one I want to start with is game number 3, because I think that was the closest. That was really hard fought on Cursed Hall. My big question is, how did you guys keep your cool? Because you kind of turtled all the way until the end.
We just kind of knew that we would. We had to play off the arrow. We knew that, so it was just a matter of time until we get a good one. And
Hey, they were all good.
Except you know, they were all awesome. But a really good one, and then we win the game off of that, because that's how we were winning our fights. Was either off ice wall or off of arrow, and they were a little slippery with the ice walls, so it had to be the arrow. It had to be the arrow that game.
Alrighty, that was my big one for me. And then I guess game number 5, the other one is. I'm curious as to why you guys still went for the taunt variant comp after you saw the Medivh. Obviously, it worked out in your favor, but, you know, that's kind of what we see as the big counter to a blow-up comp like that.
You can taunt somebody and then just not throw all the spells at them, and then the goal is to usually get Medivh Protect, but we didn't always get it. But we had enough damage sources that between, like, random ball lightning or like Q damage, people getting chunked out from Cassia, to where the Medivh Protect often had to go somewhere else, and then we could taunt anyways and kill somebody.
Right, makes sense.
I
And
noticed.
we knew that the 20 banner would kind of carry the game a little bit. Our 20s that game were insane.
You guys were very good about baiting out those shields as well. I could tell you were just waiting for that shield to come out, and then you would see Valimar leap in there trying to find the kills. So very well played there into the Medivh. Even though they had something to kind of counter what you were going for with the taunt variant comp, you guys were able to play around it anyways and find the kills you needed. So GG's.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Jinxie, any last questions here before we wrap things up? We'll give everyone a chance to do some shout-outs. You guys are the Heroic Division champs, so you guys can all have a chance to say your thanks and you know, shout out whoever's moms and stuff.
No, that's it for me. Just, you know, great job. It was an awesome series, and huge congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who wants to do shoutouts first?
His mom.
Fonz's mom?
I want to give a shout out to Wildheart in general. Gonna put this team together. Shout outs to Twitch chat. A lot of people, a lot of supporters for us, a lot of my good friends. And shout out to each and every one of my teammates. They make me better, and they make me look somewhat decent.
And shout out to you guys, the casters. Did an amazing job.
Oh, no,
Oh, yeah.
our pleasure.
100%. I also want to shout out to Kryix. They pushed us to our limits today.
Yeah, they did. They played really well.
I got one more, if that's okay.
Yeah, no, take it away.
Special shout out to my mom. She's watching on Twitch right now.
Aww.
Let's go.
She's been texting me every time we lose.
Heck yeah, man. Let's go.
Aw.
This mom is the next meme.
Oh no.
Well,
Oh, no.
thanks, Lupus's mom, for tuning in. We appreciate it here at NGS. Any other shout-outs, guys?
I think that's it.
I think that's
Yeah, I
it.
think that's
All right. Well, again, congrats on the win tonight. Heroic Division champs here for NGS Season 11. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of your evening, and don't party too hard after the win.
Oh, we
I
plan
don't know about that part, but
we plan to, don't worry.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have
a good night.
All right, let's get Jinxie back up here to wrap things up. But thank you so much to everybody for tuning in tonight for the Heroic Division Finals. A big congrats to Wildheart Omega for the win this evening. And, GG's to Kryix Tempest. They played amazing tonight as well and gave Wildheart a real, challenge to get this title. Let me pop on over here, get Jinxie back in the camera. If you're, she's not showing. Give me a second.
Uh-oh.
There we go. We got you. If you're looking to follow me on Twitch, you can follow me on twitch.tv/Jazzalene. I do a ton of casting of Heroes of the Storm, usually a few games, if not 4, 5, or 6 a week. So head on over there and drop a follow. What about you, Jinxie?
You can follow me at twitch.tv/Jinxeekatt. We play lots of Heroes of the Storm. We do a lot of casting. We're looking to get started in the CCS next on Mania. So if you want to see me and a bunch of my friends get tilted playing some Heroes of the Storm, then that's definitely the place to check me out. Thanks so much for watching, guys. It's really a pleasure to do this with NGS. And thank you so much for having me on tonight, Jazzy.
All right. Have yourselves a fantastic rest of your evening. Make sure to check out some of the other finals coming up this week for NGS. We're going to pop on over and you guys can take a look at some upcoming matches that will be happening tomorrow. So keep an eye out for where those are going to be streamed. I'm sure some of them will be on this channel, maybe the other one on the second NGS channel, but a Div E East finals game and a Div B West finals game tomorrow. So keep an eye out for those and have yourselves a fantastic rest of your evening. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.